What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I am your host, Nick, joined by the household. So much to get into. Speaking of which, I'm 2-0 this weekend. Very excited about that. Knowledge won over the weekend. The Minnesota Vikings triumphed. Oh, no, they lost, actually.
They did lose. Field goal. I actually watched the end of that game.
Yeah. And then the Niners got spanked.
Well, I think it's really because you were behind at one point, and I think collectively we felt bad.
Yeah.
What do you say?
We made a pact.
Yeah. No, it's a long season. What's the record right now? I think I've kind of pulled away. Maybe I'm up by 3 games.
Knowledge is 8-6. Vibes are 5-9.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, you guys need to come back. But it is a long season, so yeah.
Hey, anything can happen. I mean, the Vikings were undefeated until they weren't yesterday.
There you go. River's crawling on her knees now. Very exciting
not
stuff.
really.
Sure she is. She did. I put her down. I was making coffee. Every morning I wake up and then I make me coffee and I make River her bottle. Then I feed the dogs. And then we have a little morning snack. River didn't want, she jumps. She jumps. And while I make the coffee in the bottle.
I thought it was bounce.
Bounce. Yes,
Yeah.
Sorry. Bounce.
Jumps felt wrong.
Yeah, it did felt wrong. But she likes to bounce. This morning she didn't want to bounce. So I had to hold her while I was making coffee, which is hard to do. So I plopped her down on the kitchen floor, and she quickly got on her hands and knees and crawled a little bit.
Weird.
I think she's over the weekend. She started getting on the knees. She drags herself like a
army crawl
really fast, but she wants to use those knees. We're very excited for her. The way River loves Natalie, she's definitely in her mom era. It's a really beautiful thing. Honestly, it really is. Am I a little jealous? Yes, of course.
Wait for the teenage years.
Oh, please.
Sure,
She's
but
anything
right
like
now, when River sees Natalie, it's like,
She gets happy.
oh my God, she is instilled with all the endorphins that you could possibly instill in a child. She really loves her mom.
See, I don't get baby fever, but I want to be a PTA parent. Like, it's one of my life goals.
Oh no, I'm the same.
So I'm
way.
like, I need a baby to be a PTA parent.
I
You wanna,
cannot
like,
wait. I can't wait to be a PTA parent.
Decimate those meetings.
You're
Right?
gonna be
Yeah.
you want to be PTA mom?
Oh my God, yeah.
and she'd be good at it too.
Right?
What do you want to
it's a
do?
dream.
Are you gonna
No,
go on
one
field
of my
trips?
I've thought my whole life. Is this crazy? I've thought my whole life about my first family Christmas card.
Wow.
Please do
My
tell.
whole life. I've been I wonder what that's gonna look like. And now this year we get to do a family Christmas card.
So is it
and
like,
send it to friends and family, and they put it on their fridge.
are we doing
you know?
Kyle Richards vibes? Are we doing Sears photo shoot? What's
I'm
the
thinking
aesthetic?
Kris Jenner, on the stairs, everyone slang.
Matching
and-
pajamas?
Maybe.
We don't
Okay.
have stairs.
You can get an Airbnb. Do it in a little hotel room or something.
Yeah.
I went matching outfits.
Matching outfits?
Yeah.
Or
Thought
just
about my first family's Christmas card too. I don't know if I get a say in this, but it had matching outfits.
color coordinating, maybe. You know
Matching.
how everyone did y'all see everyone see the family on the beach with jeans and a white t-shirt?
Yeah.
My
That was
boyfriend's
you?
family.
Oh.
No.
Connor's
Connor's
did
family.
that.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, we did
No,
that one year. It was
I-
khakis and black shirts.
I
though.
want to do matchy match, but not. I want to go for it.
So
Okay.
exactly the same outfit.
Nick loves to match. One thing about Nick is he will beg me to match with him.
It's funny.
You are matching right
I'll
now.
put on an outfit and he's like, what if I put on that same outfit? And I'm like, that would be something.
It's because he appreciates your outfit. It's kind of cute.
It's a conversation starter. I don't, listen, it doesn't take much to get me excited. But when we're both wearing, black Converse, I'm thrilled.
Oh,
It's the
twins.
little
Aw.
things.
It's true.
What
That
can I
is true.
say?
Well,
What can I say? I love my family.
That's sweet.
We have a great week lined up for you. Joining us later this episode, Marissa from Love is Blind. Lots of questions for her, like what she thinks of Ramses. I think
because we all know what Nick thinks of Ramses. So I feel like
Where do people fall on Ramses, online?
I think especially after this last batch of episodes where he was talking, where she was like, I don't feel good. And he was like, well, is this going to be an all the time thing? I think that really rubbed
He lost support.
women of
there.
the nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
He does have some support though.
Even the last conversation too about the wedding and whatnot, where she was like, I don't want to feel like I'm doing this all by myself. I was like, I feel like that's such a relatable thing because you're like, yes, it might be for me in theory, but it is both of our days. Contribute.
He gave off behavior that I knew what Ramses doesn't appear to know. When I was an 18-year-old boy back in the early 2000s, when men weren't having the type of conversations that Ramses looks like he wants to be a part of. We're talking about basic birds and the bees stuff.
No, if we are lucky enough to have a boy, I can't wait to have I will spell out periods. I'm going to be this, here is a tampon. This is what happens. They're going to be so well versed in
Yeah.
womanhood that whenever they do get into a relationship, it's not going to be like, oh, what is this mood you're in? Is this going to last
Well,
a whole month?
And
You want me to go in the grocery store and pick up what?
but I
Yeah,
don't think.
can't.
And yeah, we'll do that. But like, I was raised that way, and I don't like understand. Is that not happening? Like, I remember I have a pretty good understanding
Same.
of my girlfriend when I was 18, of like, where I needed to step the fuck back and shut the fuck up,
Once a month.
And it was like Ramses out here being an adult man in 2024. It's just like wild.
Well, we'll ask Marissa about it.
Yeah, we'll ask her about it. This week we have a really, really special Going Deeper that I'm very excited for y'all to listen to. Your Golden Bachelorette, Joan, is with us. And boy, what an episode.
It's very emotional.
Very emotional, very sweet. One of my favorite Going Deepers we've ever done. It's a really great episode. It's exactly what Going Deeper is meant to be. We really go deeper with Joan. She opens up in ways that I think most people haven't had a chance to get to know her, and would definitely want to hear these stories from Joan. It's just really in depth about her life, her relationships, everything she's dealt with, her struggles. You really get to know your Golden Bachelorette with tomorrow's episode of Going Deeper. So I hope you guys tune in for that. That is tomorrow. Also, Humble Brag is now out. It released on Monday. The new hit podcast with Cynthia Bailey and Crystal Minkoff. Hear all about their lives, their stories, why Crystal is no longer on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, that and so much more. It is out now. Be sure to check it out. Subscribe, tell your friends, all that fun stuff. So anyways, yeah, great week lined up for you. More guests coming down the pike as well. Plus, we got Viall Files Plus available. You can either go to viallfiles.com, or if you listen to this show on Apple Podcasts, you can sign up directly from there. You do not need to sign up in both places. It's the same content. Either way, if you love your Ask Nick updates, if you love your Pop Extra roundups where we talk about the pop culture topics we didn't get to talk about in Reality Recap, or you love your Vanderpump recaps, those are all great reasons to sign up for Viall Files Plus. It's free to sign up. You get to try it for a week. Check it out, either viallfiles.com or on Apple Podcasts. You can sign up directly from the app.
Should we tell everyone we're vampires and that's why Justin and Mary and Sierra are bleeding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's a vampire. I didn't want to put blood on my mouth for, I just thought out of context that might.
Obvious punchlines.
It would be salt burning. Yeah.
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 Like,
That's a little too much.
online when we post these cut downs, and it's just like,
Yeah.
weird.
I didn't know we were dressing up.
Mary had a really
Why
rough
is the blood coming
time.
out of your eyes?
Yeah.
Sometimes your brain just
bleeds.
bleeds.
Vampires
and
are sad
it-
sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like
Sure.
giving more zombie than vampire.
Is it? I feel like it's giving that girl. Did you guys watch American Horror Story?
Which
Yeah.
one? Yes. Coven.
Yes, Coven, where the little Farmiga, every time she has sex with a guy, it gives him a brain aneurysm and he dies.
Oh my
Forgot
God.
about that.
Yeah, that's how the show opens. I'm like the
You're
guy.
that. Oh.
Also,
Wait, what?
I'm dead from a brain
Every time
aneurysm.
she has sex with someone,
They
the guy-
die.
They die. They have like a brain aneurysm.
Is it coming from your eyes and your nose, or is that just like the drippage down?
The drippage.
The
Oh.
drippage.
Is
It does look a
definitely-
little
It looked like
looks
two
a little
for
Yeah,
one.
it,
Yeah.
it definitely looks like I just like am really having a rough day.
You know, like you're crying,
But-
you're snotting everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
You
like,
showed up.
I'm
and
a
that's all that
heartbroken
matters.
vampire.
It's also true for True Blood vampires. They cry blood because remember they don't have water in there.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's so
there you go,
sad.
Sierra. Bring it back.
What
Thank
age would you
very
want to become a
much.
vampire?
Good
Uh,
question.
probably now.
I think
No
at the end of
sooner.
my life, right? Because they live forever, and
But
then
then you're
they're
No,
gonna
I
be
think-
old forever.
I think the question
Back
is like, what age do you
problems.
want to freeze in time?
oh,
Yeah.
now for sure.
Yeah, you know.
Actually, can everything happen still, and you're still the same? Like
It would still
say if-
happen,
say-
but-
okay, pre-baby for sure, pre-baby.
Or wait.
Back when I had like,
Yeah.
yeah,
You stay 22.
You just want to make sure
but
you're
you'd have a baby.
You're
still.
not wishing River.
no. I would still want River. I just wouldn't want the body, the depressiveness, the body.
Are you
the-
depressed?
No. I was at one point, and after postpartum depression is a thing that some people do talk about. I really haven't talked about it that much, but yeah, there was like a moment, it's like a split second that I was for a second.
Okay, well,
Anyways,
Bella did give birth to Renesmee, and her body looks snatched after.
Renesmee.
Yeah,
So
that vampire gene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Yeah. Well,
it's time for household headlines. Sad news is upon us. Obviously, the passing of Liam Payne happened last week. Very, very tragic. Obviously, our hearts go out to him and his family. Sounds like a very tragic story. He's someone who seems like he's been, struggling with some, stuff since One Direction broke up. And if you are struggling with your mental health, obviously reach out to friends and family if that is the case.
what really like upsets me is there's, all of these witnesses speaking out and the video footage or the video recordings from the hotel calling 911 is all leaking. And to me, it seems so obvious that this person needed help and no one called to get him help. It's like he was doing things in the lobby. They'd send him up to his room. He'd come back down. He'd do some stuff. They'd send him back up to his room. And it's like he clearly needed help. And you just like kept sending him away.
Yeah.
And that I think is like the saddest part.
It's a sad story. I mean, it sounds like he was in a very volatile state of mind. I don't know what was going on when that was all happening, but some reports suggest that maybe he seemed to be, in a state that other people felt maybe unsafe around him. So who knows what was going on. But anyways, very
sad.
difficult situation, very sad, obviously to his fans and family.
His girlfriend.
His past, his child. Very, very sad story. Continue with the sad stories. P. Diddy continues to face more and more charges. We're not going to get into the details because, quite honestly, they're kind of disgusting and horrible. Once again, for all the people who are involved in this story, may they all go down and pay the consequences of their terrible acts, especially P. Diddy.
There was a video that I think, a bunch of stuff is resurfacing now. And there was a video that is resurfacing of him with like Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg and
oh my God,
like a
Stay
bunch
away
of
from those
people,
two.
a bunch of people. And he pulls a card and it's like, if right before you die, like what would be your last words? And his is, I did it. And it's just like all of this, it's like all the signs were there, but it's like none of us could see it. And now that all of this has come out, it's like, this was so obvious.
Well, I think what's even more disturbing, forgetting about us fans who should have been like, oh, we could have saw it. It seems like there were a lot of people who actually did see it, witnessed it, were involved in it, participated in it. And I think it's a long spectrum of people who are also guilty of the things that Diddy is being charged of. And then just people who were willfully aware of what was going on and chose not to say anything or, were too, some I'm sure will claim they were too afraid to come forward. But it seems like way, way, way too many people. I think we can all agree on that. We're well aware of some of these disgusting behaviors that P. Diddy and his circle of friends and influence were participating in. And again, may they all burn and face the consequences of their actions. On good news, Jennifer Lawrence is pregnant with baby number 2. Congratulations.
Yay.
We love that for her and her family.
So am I.
Very exciting.
We need to get her on the pod. She's a big Bravo fan.
You're pregnant?
What?
No?
I was like, wait a minute.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm wearing all leather today. There's no way I could be pregnant in all leather.
You could be.
Yeah.
You could be.
Absolutely not.
Eva Mendes reveals extreme reasons. I don't know why we call this extreme. I feel like this headline is unnecessarily and unfairly judging Eva Mendes and her parenting style. Eva Mendes reveals her extreme reason for her and Ryan Gosling's daughters are forbidden from using smartphones.
Well, maybe she was like, and it may be a little extreme. I don't know.
Was it though?
But
Did she call it extreme? Because I don't think we should be judging.
it is extreme is in quotes. So
Yeah.
I would imagine that maybe
Well, and
that is
basically
something
what she said was putting my kid on the internet and being like, oh, search something that to me is equivalent to telling her, okay, just go down the street in the middle of the night, you'll be fine. So that's like
I
her
agree.
analogy of like,
Yeah.
let me
I
just
agree.
remove the phones because if so.
Eva Mendes is ahead of her time, and
Mhm.
she is a very mindful and present parent. And as two parents who are new to this thing, we're very mindful of obviously Nally and I, we're both on our phones. And since we've had River, we know we're both on our phones too much. We challenge each other to get off our phones when we're around River. But when we turn on the TV in the background, it's crazy just how instinctive River is. And she doesn't even know what a TV is, but like she just immediately knows what it is. And it's hard. It's hard. Being a parent. I mean, that's the thing. I can imagine any parent out there is going to be like, well, you tell me what you do when life gets hectic, It's very easy to put a screen in front of your child, because it can be overwhelming at times. But good for Eva Mendes for taking up that challenge.
I don't
know.
think she's saying like they don't watch TV. I think it's more like
I'm
they
just
don't
saying
have
screen time in
phones.
general. It's very easy to iPad it or to give your kid a phone or give your kid an iPad. It's a challenge not to do that. And I think we need more awareness about that, and it needs to be more the norm. And we have to stop calling this behavior extreme, because I think it gets easier when your community of parents all get together and limit your kids' access to a phone, because I think, especially when our kids get older, I think what we've seen is like when it comes to kids going to like elementary school, middle school, high school, I think kids nowadays see the problem with the phones, but you know what their biggest fear is? Missing out, FOMO.
Yeah.
They're afraid of what conversations are happening online with their friends. So if their friends are online, if their friends have phones, it's even harder for parents to have their kids not be on the phone. Anyways, good on Eva Mendes for being ahead of her time.
It is an interesting analogy though, where she's like, just searching anything on the internet is like going down the street. 'Cause
It's true.
I think about it of like Instagram, like a feed is insane where like if I go to my Explorer page, it will be housewives and then like thirst traps. And like those thirst traps, everybody has an OnlyFans nowadays. So it's like that thirst trap is linked to an OnlyFans. And if you swipe from that thirst trap, you're going to get like who knows what. So it's like,
It's unlimited access. Even if you have parental controls, God only knows. I mean, parents nowadays, I mean, when, rewind 30, 40 years ago, everyone was afraid of all the potential predators out on the streets, who potentially could, put your kids at risk. And those people still exist. But the reality is more of those predators are online. They're not on the streets. They're not in the malls as much as they used to be. They're online, waiting for your kids to get online as well. And I think Eva Mendes' analogy is a perfect analogy because that's what the internet is. It's when your kid has a phone, that's giving the world access to your children. And it's a scary world out there. So good on Eva Mendes. Anyway, Project Runway is coming back?
well, it's coming back, but not on Bravo. So now it's going to Freeform.
I
So
hate
ABC.
the name Freeform. ABC Family.
I know.
I'm like, why did we
I'm still not
change
over
first
it.
of all?
It's
Yeah.
like Freeform.
Oh my god.
That's all.
What does it stand for? Free formatting?
I don't
No,
know. It's just like they rebranded ABC Family as Freeform, and I'm like,
It's because they wanted, because
Loser.
ABC Family was supposed to be family content.
Yeah.
Freeform is supposed to be for young adults, teenagers.
but ABC Family had pregnant show, the girl that was pregnant,
Switched
The
up
James-
birth.
the-
switched at birth. They had like the Fosters. They had it was like always like that, and then they would do like Hocus Pocus, 13 Days of Halloween,
Secret Life of an
Secret Life of
Secret-
an American
an
Teenager.
American
Oh,
teenager.
yeah.
Mhm.
Damn, that was a good show.
It was great.
Is anybody excited for Project Runway?
No.
Because I realized that I confused it with America's Top Model. Yeah.
I mean, if America's Next Top Model came back, that would be a little bit more exciting.
It would be exciting,
Wasn't
but
that
also
the
like,
prob-
how could they?
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because that
They
one's
should.
also like
I don't
low-key
care, they should.
problematic. So it's like, can we even bring back that one?
Well, obviously, we'd have probably like a different line of
100%.
judges and
Not Janice
stuff.
Dickinson,
I don't know
but
if Janice Dickinson
I mean,
would
size
make her
zero
way
with
back.
that.
Which one was Janice Dickinson?
Woo,
What did she
scary,
say?
very scary.
She was
Can
the
we bring her up?
harshest judge on America's Next Top Model. She was actually
Oh, wasn't Ty Branks?
no. I mean, Tyra said a lot of problematic stuff too, but I'm like, Janice was the one that said things that would scar people for life. She also cameoed on this
House of
past
Villains.
this past
I
episode
started
of House of
watching.
Villains.
Oh,
Mm.
really?
Okay.
It's a really fascinating show, actually.
Oh, it's so good.
Because it's like all the people with the best sound bites throwing sound bites at each other.
And fighting each other and having to vote each other out, and they're all like conspiring and dirty, and they play into it, and it's so fun.
Well, thank God for Project Runway. So
It is hard to
excited.
say.
It is
Yeah.
kind of hard to say.
Project
Project
Runway.
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 Interesting.
Runway?
Well, pop off.
Housewives of Dubai season 3 is finally renewed. That
Why
I'm
do you say
excited.
finally?
Because it was Dubai has this weird thing, and I love all the Dubai people. One of my favorite franchise where it takes forever to get renewed between seasons. So like season 1 to season 2 took a while. Season 3, like they wrapped this show like months ago, and like now it's renewed. I mean, usually they renew it right away.
I would love to see more of Caroline and Sergio back on the screens.
Yeah,
If we're throwing out other things that got renewed,
please do.
Nobody Wants This got renewed for a second season. I don't know if you guys started watching
We started
it.
watching it last night.
Obsessed.
So
Yeah.
cute.
Obsessed.
I
Really
just
good.
finished it last night.
And what's so crazy is I was talking to our friend Shug about this morning, and it's like me and her have been on the Adam Brody train. And I feel like there's so many people who like haven't or have, and now after watching this, they're like, no, and I love him. And it's like, well, we've loved him all along.
Meet
Gilmore
Seth Cohen.
Girls,
Welcome.
Jennifer's Body,
Seth Cohen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's
I'm surprised he had to. Yeah, I mean, when I was in college, he was very popular with the ladies.
Also married to Leighton Meester with like 2 children.
he kind of disappeared.
Yeah, because
Why?
they're like normal people. Him and Leighton are such like a normal couple and like don't do all of like the celebrity stuff. But I'm glad that he's finally having his resurgence because he wasn't appreciated enough.
he wasn't.
No.
The
This
Adam
is-
Brodescence.
Same,
True.
it's the same
Yes.
charming character he played
Mhm.
basically 20 some years ago.
1000%.
Mhm.
Sierra was saying earlier when we were talking about topics to talk about, she goes, I don't know, nobody wants this, but was renewed for another season. And I was like, nobody wants this. In my head, I was like, what do you mean nobody wants
It
this?
sounded like a
And
game
then I
of
was
who's
like-
on first.
It's
Yeah.
literally.
And then I was like, oh, that's the show. Nobody wants this.
Nobody wants this.
My favorite Adam Brody character, Fight Club. No, I'm sorry, not Fight
Mr. and
Club.
Mrs. Smith?
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Okay,
where
I
he's
was
wearing-
like,
Mr.
child?
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where he's wearing the Fight Club T-shirt of Brad Pitt in the movie with Brad
He
Pitt.
was in Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great
And he
cameo.
was amazing.
It's really funny. It's a great moment. And then it was honestly like after Fight Club, then he just like kind of disappeared.
After Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Thank you.
Jesus.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. Yeah.
After
I
his
keep thinking about that
Fight
T-shirt.
Club
I love
cameo
Fight
in
Club.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Yeah.
You know who is disappearing? Raquel Leviss is no longer going rogue, and she's leaving the podcast.
Is she?
Or
Yeah.
is she finally going rogue? And
That's
leaving
true.
The podcast.
Yeah.
Did she give it a reason as to why she's done?
She is
Moving on.
once again trying to focus on her mental health.
Oh.
She said like taking the other foot out.
No. Now, here comes the book.
Yeah.
That
The
is
memoir.
true.
Tell-all.
The tell-all
Oh.
memoir book.
Is the podcast still being recorded?
It is. The last time I listened for a headline, it was just her publicist or producer that was hosting it by herself. So I don't know how long that's been going on, if Rachel's been a part of it or has stepped away for a while and now it's finally being announced.
Is she going to walk away from the lawsuits next, maybe? That'd be
You would
nice.
hope so.
That would be nice, but I don't think so. I think that's coming up in
She's
November.
taking time off of her podcast to focus on her lawsuit. Yeah.
I mean,
Basically. She's like, I'm not making money doing the
File more
podcast, but like,
lawsuits.
cha-ching.
Yeah, to be a professional lawsuit.
I do
or-
wonder though if her podcast was like incriminating her, and then her like lawyers were like, "Girl, you got to stop." And then eventually she's like, "You know what? I'm just not going to speak."
Probably.
Yeah.
Well,
Probably.
it sure felt like Rachel was being fed lines on her own podcast
Yeah, it did
by
sound like that. The producers.
people making the podcast.
Yes.
Which, given how I know those podcasts made over there on iHeart, it makes sense.
Speaking of the whole Sandoval Raquel situation, Kordell, fan favorite from Love Island USA, was in a interview on a red carpet, and the interviewer asked, can we as a nation ever forgive Tom Sandoval? And he responds with, Tom who? And I think that just goes to show you that like no one ever really gives a fuck. Like there's so many people in this world that like it's really never that big,
Never.
you know?
No.
Like there's a whole group of people who have a huge amount of people who have no idea who Tom Sandoval is and don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
This is really just a lesson you're saying, I'm assuming, for Tom Sandoval.
I'm saying for everything, for anything that you think is like a big deal for you, it's like
Yeah.
it never is.
For
Nobody
you, but for
cares.
not someone else.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh my God, everyone thinks this about me, or everyone said this. It's like no one really knows.
Well, and
who
some
that
people thought
is.
that Kordell was being shady with this when he said Tom who, because then
No, he literally
well,
doesn't
she
know.
well, she responded going exactly, and then he goes, "Oh, I don't know what that is." So then he says that. So then people were like, "Oh, he's being extra shady."
No,
It's
he
people
genuinely did not
looking
know.
into
He
it,
genuinely
it's
didn't
like,
know, and I
he's
think
just
he was being
confused.
he didn't want to be like quoted on a topic he knew nothing about.
Yeah.
And he was making it very clear that whatever you're insinuating or whatever headline you're about to give me, I have no fucking clue what you're saying.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't need the next headline to be Kordell and Sandoval at war. And he's
Yeah.
like, who?
Who?
It reminded me of like the Jimmy Kimmel interview with RuPaul when he was like a drag queen, and then RuPaul was like,
Oh,
A
that was
queen.
Jimmy Fallon.
"Sorry, Jimmy
Yeah.
Fallon." I get them mixed up, but
Yeah.
he goes a drag queen, and then he was like, and he goes Queen of
The
Drag.
Yes.
But like you could see it in their eyes when
Yeah.
someone's like,
Jimmy Fallon thought he was
Did I fuck up?
over.
Canceled.
Canceled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he thought. Yeah, that was
A
so.
drag
It's giving the same
drag
energy.
queen. I'm the queen of drag.
Queen of Drag.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no one cares. Just remember.
Should we get into some Real Housewives?
"Can we
No.
How do we? What should we start?
start with Salt Lake City?"
Salt
Are we,
Lake
Because
you,
it's my
want, you want to
favorite.
start with Salt Lake?
Okay.
I don't care.
I'm
Actually,
down.
wait. Do we save the best
Don't
for
we?
last?
Don't we usually save the best for last?
That's true. Okay, go to OC first.
Okay.
Good
Wait, I
episode
felt like
for
OC was better.
OC was
Then
so
Salt Lake
good.
City?
It can never be
Well, they
better
were
than
both.
Salt
I
Lake.
mean, they're both good. I mean, it's just in general, I think Salt Lake.
I officially followed Jen after this past episode.
Everybody
my
loves
respect.
everybody loves her now after this
Mhm.
episode.
Mhm.
The last 5 minutes.
Is that just because she went after Tamra?
It's-
Probably part. Yeah.
it's the arc of seeing her like come up after last season, coming off a little weak, I will say, and then this season her like going in there and just like being like
She raised her voice. That's
raised
what
her
it was.
voice. Tamra's clapping at her.
No, yeah, the Tamra being condescending, clapping, being like, I'm so proud of you. Yes, you're using your voice. Like, if I'm Heather, I'm like, I'm disgusted with you. Like, what grown woman acts like that?
Right.
Yeah.
But Heather was kind of aligned
Mhm.
with Tamra this episode, it felt like.
It did feel like that.
I feel like she was with the whole Shannon stuff, but then it's like to sit here and watch Tamra act that way when Jen, who hasn't done anything wrong to anybody ever in her life, is like standing up for herself and simply just saying like, please don't like leave my family alone. Like my kids are good. We are good. Like please. And then Tamra just being so like such a bitch. It's like, how can you back that?
You
When a
found your
background-
voice.
Yeah.
No, she was
Crazy.
definitely rude to her. I kind of did Tamra really do a background check though?
I
She
think
said in her words, my friend is doing a background check and then sent screenshots of said background check.
That being
okay.
said, she can be a little, maybe not lying, but misleading. So she could have been misleading in her defense.
Well,
But
Tamra
she
definitely
said it.
lies.
No,
And
but
she said it.
Regardless, Jen makes the best point, being like the obsession with
my-
my family, my situation. It's disgusting. Like, what is your purpose? You want to blow up my life and then be like, cool, I'm right, and then what?
I don't agree with anything Tamra's doing this season, but if we had a group of friends whose one friend was dating someone we all kind of agreed with was problematic and shady, we would Google them. We would look them up. We would.
But
we
that's-
would.
But
we
that's
would.
also like none of your business.
I
Just
would
'cause you don't like
I
him,
would
you don't have to
recognize
date
that
him.
someone
But
could
then you
say
would,
it's none of our business. I get it,
But
but
would you
we would.
Would you get a background check on somebody?
would
Again,
you
I don't know if
continue
he-
to go after them constantly over every
No.
chance you get? Be like,
After she says, I'm fine, I love him,
Just
I'm not
like, I
leaving.
can't say one. Like I hate everything Tamra's done. I am not defending Tamra. I'm just saying that again. I'm glad Jen finally stood up for herself because Jen's really mean to only one person, and that is herself. Because
Yeah.
she makes a lot of decisions that you just like. Oh, Jen.
Tamra should be like Emily. I think that's the difference, where Emily's approach to questioning the husband was like what we would all do.
do you think Tamra's judgment or questioning or research of Ryan is coming from a good place?
Of course not. I don't.
So then how can you be like, listen, I get it, or I do the same if it's
But
not coming from a good place?
I just don't think we're all acting like, oh, when Jen's like, it's none of your business. How could you? It's gross and disgusting that you're just like, I'm just saying like, that's the part we would all do. We would.
Well, speak for yourself. I definitely
that's
would
what I'm saying.
not.
At 40, it's 20
Okay.
at 40 is like two different things. But even then, like
Uh-huh.
if my best friend is dating somebody that I don't particularly am fond of, but I have my own reasons for not liking him and they tell me I'm good, this is the person I choose, it's either mind my own business or there's going to be a rift in our friendship because I don't like your partner and I make it hard for you to date him.
Like, I would definitely make it very known my concerns, my like worries. I'd be like, listen, babe, I have heard these things about him. I don't like him, but like to then go out of my way and do A, B, C, and D and then like not even tell her about it. She didn't even do the background check and then be like, hey, Jen, like I have to tell you like what I found. Nothing. She just sends it to Shannon to talk shit about.
I'm not talking about that aspect of it. I'm not saying we would do everything Tamra did. All I'm saying is we would be nosy. I'm not saying we would deliver it. I think we would be much better friends than I don't think even Tamra is interested in being a friend. I don't think we'd have the same intentions as Tamra. I just think we would be nosy. I do think that. Am I wrong?
I'm just not going to
Crazy?
spend
I get
hours
it.
of my time digging into somebody else's relationship or like who did they date or like what like are they in mortgages? Like why is that any of my business? And
If
what are
your
you going to do
best
with that
friend,
information?
if your best friend was dating someone that you thought potentially, allegedly was doing criminal things or nefarious things or illegal things, you wouldn't be a
Then
little
I would
nosy?
talk to them. I would talk to her and be
Yeah.
like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's on the internet. Like, what say you
And if
about
they
it?
acted like it was all like internet gossip and it was all people, it was just the haters being haters, but you thought there was some truth to it, you would
Back off because
I
it's
don't
none
know.
of my business.
You know what? In your defense, Nick, I think you're right. I think you could do it, but I think Tamra was messy. That's when you just say, I got a DM.
To be clear, I think
I got a DM.
I received a direct
Like-
message
Of a PDF of
Of
17
documents.
pages.
She didn't have to say, I went to go get the background check.
I
you know?
don't
Yeah.
think Tamara is interested in being a good friend. What I'm
No,
saying is
exactly. She's not.
you can be nosy and gossipy and still like at the end of the day still want to be a good friend to your friend. I don't think Tamara's being a friend or has an interest being a friend to Jen. I think Tamara is doing what Tamara is doing, which is causing drama and instigating drama and making people feel foolish about their choices they make for themselves. I'm just saying we would Google.
She's not being nosy to be like, Jen, like, you need to get out of this. Like, he's not a good
worried about
person.
you.
She's doing it to be like, I told you all along that he was bad, and I'm the one who's been right, and this. That's the only reason she's doing it.
And again, Jen also makes a point. Tamra using somebody else's situation for a storyline. What is one thing that you've learned about Tamra this season involving her personal life?
Nothing.
Her daughter.
She did have a moment with her daughter where her daughter was like, I'm not performing for this TV like you do.
Well, that's what's crazy about it.
That's true.
Think about it. How do you think Tamra would handle Tamra's storyline about Tamra's daughter?
Oh, she would blow up every single time someone even brought up the name because it's none of their business.
Does Tamra use kids? Because obviously that was like a big storyline of Salt Lake City.
Why was she removed again? Remember, she was put on pause like way back when.
Tamra's?
Well, Tamra's just problematic. I can't remember why though.
Because they brought her back last season, so that was her return season.
I'm once again just disappointed in Heather. That whole scene, maybe I could have been watching it or interpreting it wrong, but when Shannon was pulling out the receipts and Tamra and Heather were just, it was Emily and Heather. They were kind of like,
they made fun of her with those
kind of gave Mean Girl energy. It's just like, they're just laughing at Shannon because it's like, at what? Because she's supposed to like have everything indexed and organized and like everything should be digital. And here's Shannon out there like ruffling through receipts and they're just kind of laughing and snarking at her because like she's giving like disorganized.
Those are also some big receipts. It wasn't like $5 here, $10 here. It was like 20,000.
It's also interesting to me that they're like, oh, she was struggling to pay bills and she was doing this, but like she got plastic surgery. And it's like, if I'm struggling to pay my bills and my boyfriend is like, babe, like, do you want a facelift? I'll get it.
Totally.
Sure.
100%
The same thing with the
immediately.
dress.
I'm not going to be like, no, I'll wait until I'm financially stable for you to buy me a facelift. Like, no, let's go ahead. Let's make the appointment.
Might as well look pretty.
1,000%.
It doesn't look pretty while I'm broke.
It's the same thing with Jen and the dress where it's like, oh, but you only get 6,000 and I'm concerned for you and how you're spending your money. First of all, yet again, none of your business. Second of all, $2,000 and she just moved into a giant mansion that you guys were just at. You don't think that Ryan is contributing at all?
And last season she had fake and she admitted it. So it's like, it could be anything.
Also,
There's no pleasing you bitches.
People who are bad with their money are
good spenders.
Yes, they
Great
buy things for other
shoppers.
people.
Yeah.
They're very generous. They
Yeah.
like they give to their friends. That's not the confusing part. I find Heather to be classy and sophisticated and above the fray. And like we said at the beginning of the season, she needs new friends. And here she is, just kind of like laughing at Shannon for like not being organized. It's giving like Mean Girl.
To me, it's a little bit not blaming Tamra, but I'm saying it's the Tamra effect. It's the same way that Gina was like, well, when Emily's close with Tamra, I don't recognize you. You're so mean. And then it's like Tamra rubbing off on Heather. It's like, okay, we laugh. Okay, we giggle. Okay, like I'm not going to say anything, even though the right thing to do would be like, well, you guys calm down. This isn't that serious. Or like, let's have a conversation. Like you would think that Heather would facilitate calm communication. And instead she was like, yeah.
Heather was trying to also, I think.
No, Heather was just like, leave me out of it.
Well, the Jen thing, she was like, wait.
No, she was
but
like,
just
don't
couldn't.
talk about my friendship with Tamra.
That's true, yeah.
Has Tamra spoke any further on her self-diagnosis?
No. Besides the apology we read last week.
I know she kind of rescinded it and was like, I think I spoke too soon on a vague idea of what the spectrum is.
That was her apology last week.
I feel like the collective take is, regardless of what her diagnosis ends up being or not being, I feel like for the people who are or who are not part of this community, I feel like everyone just kind of thinks like, you got this far in life, Tamra. And so regardless of whatever your diagnosis is, no one has the patience or appetite for her to like use it as a reason for any type of behavior on the show.
We can criticize that when that does become her excuse. But I think right now it was just her being like, this is what I found out about myself. And like, now I'm sharing it. And then she got shit for it. And she was like, whoa, let me like do some more research. I don't think she was like, this explains the whole season and why everyone hates me.
It did come right after the laughing at Shannon episode. And then I think a lot of people connected the dots because Tamra in that message was basically saying like, I lack the ability to empathize or read social situations. And it kind of suggested that she was using that as an excuse without directly saying it. But
I think every episode she could have put that out. I think every episode she's shown some sort of, I don't think it's like a coincidence. I think every episode she's not been empathetic towards people who deserve empathy. And I think it was just like, I took this test and here it is.
Maybe.
Well, and separate from the diagnosis, like in this episode, she did say, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And it's like,
She did? At what context?
When they were talking about Ryan and the FBI again. Like, it was just a quick one-off comment that she said where it's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And it's like,
But that
how
goes
many
into it.
like how many times can you say, oh, I shouldn't say this? And then it's like, okay, well.
It's still
And this, I'm saying this separate from like all of the diagnoses things.
It is also, I mean, the whole like sitting at the dinner table and Shannon's trying to talk about the whole Alexis lawsuit and she's just like hand in Shannon's face. It's just the constant like disrespect to Shannon that, and like none of the other women are like, whoa, like let's chill out. Like that's too much. Like no one ever stands up. Like you don't even have to love Shannon to stand up. You can just be like, Tamra, like put your hand down. Like this, what are you doing right now? And no one says anything.
Nobody.
The energy that the rest of the cast is giving is that like Shannon is just this hot mess who makes endless bad decision after endless bad decision. And the rest of the cast is giving like, we don't feel sorry for you anymore. That's kind of the energy that they're giving. But it's still hard to understand why, to Natalie's point, why they lack any empathy for her whatsoever, which is weird. It's just weird that they don't think that like they could be in need of a little pat on the back at some point in their life. And they're acting like Shannon is run out of pats on the back.
It looks more like they just don't want to get involved, is the vibe that I get.
I mean, I do finally appreciate
But they are.
They are involved. I agree.
I do finally appreciate Emily speaking up at the table, being like, you pound down on Shannon for like quote unquote lying about this stuff, but like you give Alexis all these free passes and like that's just so weird to me. And like Tamra, of course, had nothing to say back to that, but I hope this is like the start of them sticking up for what's right and what's wrong. I don't know.
I don't think they're ever going to do that.
They probably won't. But.
Yeah. If they haven't done it yet. I mean, that's the thing. It's like even Emily, who's been the closest thing to an ally to Shannon, even in that scene where Shannon's ruffling through the receipts, was like laughing at her as if like she should.
That also could have been like a the context wasn't there. You know, I feel like Shannon didn't seem to like, why the fuck are you laughing at me? Like I'm being for real. It did kind of seem like this is the best way I could have kept up with it. It's like a little frantic and old lady of me, but like
I think it was funnier in the sense because like Heather's comparing her to her mom at that point, being like she's coming back with like files and whatnot, and for her to come back with like scraps of paper. That I think it was just a funnier presentation. And sometimes when things are just silly, you just laugh uncontrollably while trying to take something serious.
I guess that, but this whole season, every scene Shannon's in, it's always like she's down bad. She needs a hug. She needs a pick me up. And here she is bringing out receipts. And then you have Heather and Emily just laughing at, it's just like, I don't know. Like
I felt more like they were laughing with her rather than at her in that scene specifically.
I also think Gina's like her number one ally in my opinion, because I'm like, I feel like Gina's the one that's like, hey, we've had the most drama, but like, I'm the one that's going to follow you out after dinner. I'm the one that's going to check and make sure that you're okay. I'm the one that's like building you up in that situation. And then Emily's doing a good job behind the scenes, I feel like, but like maybe not actually standing up right in the moment. But at the same time, exactly what Gina said when she was here, it's kind of like, I can see why she's looking around being like, why am I the one doing this?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you all known her for so much longer, and yet I'm the only one that feels obligated to stand up right now and follow her? Oh, okay. Here I go.
It's crazy.
And what's the latest on Alexis? She was remarkably absent for this episode.
Because
they're still in England.
Yeah.
There's
She
3
was
episodes.
not invited.
Yeah.
She did post something on Instagram this past Friday, if you want me to read it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So she basically said, this is in response to Shannon being like, I have a text of you admitting that you're part of the original lawsuit.
The smoking gun issue.
The smoking gun. So Alexis posted on Instagram saying, I am not a liar, in all caps. Yes, I remember this text. A text is not a legal document, which was the original accusation. The text did not get the ball rolling.
Semantics.
It was my attempt to stop the ball from rolling. It was sent to both Tamra and Shannon at Jim Bellino's request, with hopes that they would stop attacking our family. And at a time our family was already in shambles from 6 months of our new divorce, our kids were broken. I never supported Jim suing them, and once he began moving forward with the lawsuit, I told him I will neither condone nor support it. I was, in all caps, never a part of this lawsuit. Also in all caps, I am not a liar. Be sure to tune into this reunion as further evidence that I am not a liar is revealed.
Be sure to turn into this
Further
reunion.
evidence that I'm not a liar is revealed. That's awesome.
Boo.
I mean, like, no, it's still evidence. Like,
A text is
gotcha.
evidence.
If you aren't a part of
public
it,
opinion, not Alexis is saying it's not a legal document. It
But
isn't a
it's
court of
just-
public opinion.
but it's just like if you aren't a part of it, then you say like Jim's attorney, Jim's suing you, Jim is that. You don't like just throw yourself in the mix
Yeah.
if you've been the whole time like, please don't do it. Let's not. I don't condone this. Don't send it. You don't just we.
We, our, my, But okay.
Yeah. I mean, I am excited for that reunion. I do feel like it will be off the walls bonkers.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Well, I heard it was kind of chill until Alexis shows up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Do you think they? Oh no, it's already been filmed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, do you think they asked Jen if she's excited about the Dodgers going to the World Series?
Ryan's like, yes! Sorry. I won't speak.
It took me
Yeah.
a second. I was like, Dodgers.
Yeah.
Who do you think
that's
she's
awful.
betting on?
Dodgers, she has to.
Yikes,
Yeah,
yikes,
I think
yikes,
she
yikes.
does have to bet on the Dodgers.
The new Bellino, Alexis's ex, isn't he dating an old housewife or something in the public eye?
It was rumored, but then he made a comment saying we're not dating. So I think we're kind of in limbo of like,
They were best friends.
Weren't they out to dinner or something?
right. They were at a dinner, pretty close to each other, yes. Photographed multiple
What is
times.
with these guys? Obsessing, like,
I mean, they might not be, I don't know, like a couple.
You stand by like a photo says nothing.
maybe they're not, but they are hanging out.
What housewife is it? Who is it?
Well, this is Elizabeth Lynn Vargas.
One hit wonder on a season of Orange County.
It's just more like, regardless if they're friends or dating or what, it seems these guys of Orange County they're like housewife chasers,
Right?
you know?
Well,
I mean,
Orange County is kind of the vibe of like the men or the unofficial like friend ofs. Like in OC, the men are the unofficial friend of sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like Heather Dubrow's husband. He's kind of like a friend of.
We give, sometimes unfairly, women a lot of shit for
Yeah.
their male companions who
Mhm.
might be celebrities, and we have certain labels and names we like to attach to them. I just feel like these men of the OC should be appropriately shamed for their obsession with like riding the coattails of these powerful women.
Agreed.
100%.
And we need a name for the housewife chasers of OC.
Yeah, because they're definitely using the clout of their exes.
Yeah.
So like I dated her.
The-
I was in 2 episodes.
we only know about these guys, and all they do is like
Sue.
these women, and we only know about their relevancy because of their proximity to these women.
You know how there's like single white female? Is there a single white male? in OC?
yeah.
Bottom feeders, Nick.
Yeah, they're bottom feeders.
Bottom feeders.
Bottom
Yeah.
feeders.
Yeah, bring that back. There we go. If you're a pet parent like us, you know about Chewy. And when they say they have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, well, they are not messing around. To keep them happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products for all the brands our pets, Steve and Jeff, love at prices we love. Food, treats, beds, you name it, they have it, and it gets shipped directly to our door in just 1 to 2 days. And not just for dogs and cats, birds, fish, reptiles, and more.
To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and even rolling out vet clinics across the country. Thanks to Chewy's auto ship feature, I'm never getting that, oh, I'm so disappointed in you looks from Jeff and Steve. We have set up reoccurring shipments of all the essentials we use, so we're never running out and can change or cancel the auto ship order at any time. It's also so convenient and one less thing I have to worry about. Speaking of not worrying, Chewy has the top tier 24/7 customer service, so you can get expert advice over chat or phone, day or night. Plus, if we don't love something, Chewy's 100% satisfaction guarantee lets us return it within a year, no questions asked.
I absolutely love the features that Chewy's offers us, and the most important one is the peace of mind, especially when Steve eats things he shouldn't eat, and we need to hop on a quick call to make sure Steve is okay. It's been really, really great for that. Chewy has everything that you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, and right now you can save $20 off your first order and get free shipping by going to chewy.com/VIALL. That is chewy.com/VIALL to save $20 on your first order and free shipping. Chewy.com/VIALL. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. Huckberry is the one-stop men's shop made for active, stylish, and adventurous guys. Millions trust Huckberry for discovering and shopping highly curated products from the world's coolest emerging and heritage brands. Now that I'm in my dad era, I've been really going to Huckberry to upgrade my closet when I really want to give dad.
Y'all know Nick loves a flannel, and Huckberry really comes in hot with the flannels. If you're looking for the perfect place to shop for the men in your life, whether it's your partner, your brother, your dad, or friend, Huckberry is the ultimate destination. It's the one-stop men's shop made for stylish, adventurous, and active guys. Huckberry makes it so easy to find the highest quality apparel, footwear, and gear, all curated for some of the coolest emerging and heritage brands around the world. We all know how tricky it can be to shop for men sometimes, especially Nick, hello. But Huckberry takes the guesswork out of it by offering hand-picked products that any guy would love, whether he's into city life, outdoor adventures, or both.
Huckberry has it all, from rugged yet refined outerwear to everyday essentials, making it the go-to place for gifts that feel both thoughtful and practical. They have amazing products that are great for gifting, like their cabin flannel, which is so cozy for winter. Be sure to go to huckberry.com/theviallfile so they know we sent you. You'll find some of their top products.
Well, getting into Salt Lake City, I really appreciated Bronwyn's like background.
Yeah.
Like just getting a
Yeah.
little glimpse into her
Yeah.
past, because you would never think from like how she presents that that's something she's experienced. And to think that it's connected to Lisa is also like
That
an
is
insane
crazy.
connection.
Yeah, that was kind of like a very beautiful, like genuine thing they had on the show that I wasn't necessarily expecting.
I wasn't emotionally ready.
I was like waiting for
It was
not
really
to.
fast too. It opened
It
with
was.
that.
It opened with that, and I was like, "Is Lisa gonna use this as an angle?" And I was like worried, and then she didn't. It
Lisa
was
was
just like
crying.
Lisa
Yeah.
was crying. It was really nice to see.
I can't imagine how Bronwyn felt just being like, oh my God, like this is her dad. And then her being like, oh my God, I know that connection. How Bronwyn must have been like, what the like this. She hasn't heard or talked to that family in so long. And like to know that he then passed away, it's just like that rush of emotions. And even her daughter being like, it's such a vulnerable conversation to have of just like, I want to know that whole part of who I am. But it's like, they don't seem to want me.
When she had a comment where she was like, even if I let them back into her life, her daughter's life, she's like, it will hurt me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like facing the whole like this is a good thing, but also like they treated me the way they did back in the day.
Yeah, Bronwyn was talking about. She's like, so many people have made so many decisions about this relationship or lack thereof, and the only person that like really has to deal with those decisions is my daughter. And it's just like sad. It's a lot.
But I think it also shows like how selfless Bronwyn really is, because she's not making it about her. Where
Yeah.
like the same people that essentially caused a big traumatic event in your life, like are the same people, the grandparents of your child, who you want to help complete her story. So I'm like, at the same time that it's like allowing them to come back into the daughter's life, it's like you're still going to have to be face to face with the idea that the people who treated you this way or made you feel this way about a very special situation in your life are also the people that might help complete a story about the daughter's dad that like she doesn't have the pieces to, you know?
Mhm.
No, it must be very scary for someone like Bronwyn to face, because everyone has their truth. It's a very sensitive, obviously, topic. Bronwyn has her truth that she has shared with her daughter. And I think often every parent, especially like the position that Bronwyn's in, is always going to be this fear of like, how will new information change potentially her relationship with her daughter?
Right.
Maybe, hopefully not at all, but you can understand why Bronwyn has a fear of something like that, just because obviously it is such a big moment for her daughter, and it's unpredictable, and it's, very scary situation. I mean, scary in the sense that, it's like you don't know how it's going to play out, and you recognize the seriousness of it and the importance of it for her daughter, and to have to relinquish that control for the love of your daughter is it's very difficult and selfless. And I don't think it's something a lot of parents would do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of parents in Bronwyn's positions would use that opportunity to speak ill
Or mislead.
and mislead. And Bronwyn, quite frankly, let's be honest, is in a position to talk shit if she wanted to.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it would be very easy for her to do that. And I think a lot of parents in her position, unfortunately, take that low-hanging fruit. And you can tell Bronwyn has a lot of love for her daughter in a way that, like, she has to love her daughter so much that
Yeah.
she has to like suppress her own needs. And that's one of the most difficult things as a parent to do, to know what is best for my kid might not always be what's best for you.
I can also imagine that there's like a part of Bronwyn that's like nervous for Gwen to meet them, of like, what are they going to say about me? Like, what's their version of these events? Is it going to be like, oh, your mom wouldn't let, you know,
that's not true.
this.
That one story or whatever. It's just like, actually, she did this or acted like this. And it's.
And Bronwyn she was also 19. Like that's the wild part. It's like, she's probably traumatized. I mean, this is trauma that she experienced.
Yeah, but his family,
they see it as a different way.
God only knows what she said.
Oh, well, Lisa was saying in her confessional that like she kind of alluded to like they're really nice people and they have their own side of the story, but it's like to that
I
point.
think it's also like you bring the Mormonism into it, and there's just like so much to unpack. Bronwyn's definitely in a position where she wants her daughter to be able to experience her full family. But at the same time, I think she's really like, she's scared because she wants her daughter to feel wanted. And it's like to put your kid into a situation where they may.
You feel
Yeah.
unsafe. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot. And I think they're handling it.
Well, and then the
in a good
daughter got
way.
the text from the family saying like, well, when she's ready, when you're ready. And the daughter was like, I've been ready. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, the other new housewife, Britani. Bronwyn's really winning the new housewife Olympics. For
I'm
Salt
team.
Lake City.
I've read for her, Charlie.
Bronwyn's also
Yeah.
a full-time cast member, so like she gets more screen time, whether that was made retroactively
Is
or
she?
not.
Does she though?
I was about to say, I feel like Britney,
All over
she's
this
all
episode.
over.
That's
Her
also
and Heather.
that's
She's
the
on it so
confusing
much
part
it's
too.
annoying
Yeah.
the fuck out of Mary.
Yeah. Is Brittany a cast member or is Jared Osmond
No.
a cast member? That's
Also,
the real.
actually, sorry,
like-
Jared. Friends don't send a massive bouquet of flowers, a stuffed animal,
No.
a
He's stuck
Our
on that.
essay written,
friendship-
like
No, this is unhinged behavior all around.
That was a crazy
Like-
conversation of them sitting down, and
Oh
then he
my
goes, "I'm a
God.
good guy."
No, you are not.
No,
Self-proclaimed.
The
you-
level
you-
of slime and acting, bad acting
Yeah.
that was happening at that table because he was like, I'm going to say this and then you're going to say this. And then when she doesn't say this, he's like,
What's
no.
so crazy
Yeah.
about that is it really gave. He got paid to act this way, and I actually don't think he did.
I don't think
To
he
be
did
clear,
either.
I don't think he did, but he was so unhinged and so unself-aware
Mhm.
Mhm.
of how he came across. I just didn't think that someone of his age, with quite honestly, you would think his background or at least his proximity to fame,
PR trained.
Yeah.
PR
think.
trained,
You would
that you
think.
would think that he
Or-
wouldn't come bulldozing into this show
Yeah.
and act the way he did.
Well,
But-
remember the Instagram post that we read out loud like weeks ago, where he was
Yes.
like,
Wow.
"She used me as a story." Like just the way he talks
Mm.
about her is very much you have.
I'm the reason she's even on this
I
show.
think we should make him a housewife.
Or conspiracy
Yeah,
theory, he's
maybe.
like, because he is the heir of the Osmonds, he's very much like
Heir?
like the heir to the
You mean
throne.
the heir to the throne,
Yeah, heir to the
descendant.
throne.
Is that how heirs
Osmond-
used?
yeah, heir to the
Yeah,
throne.
like he's
Aren't
like
you,
the
like,
heir
Throne
of
is
the Osmond
Osmonds.
family.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Doesn't
This is
heir
Mormon
and
royalty we're
insinuate
talking
you're
about
gonna
here.
inherit some kind of title
He
or,
did,
or,
though. I
or-
mean,
Well, at one point he's gonna be the Osmond.
He is the oxygen. He is the CO2.
Yeah.
I thought he was more like the black sheep.
molecules.
Is he? I mean, I don't know deep Osmond.
I
lore.
also don't. Maybe I mean he's acting like a
Maybe.
black sheep.
Wasn't
But
it
it's like-
Lisa who was like, he's not even, she was like, he's
Yeah,
the
but
like,
it's like,
least Osmond.
Maybe he thinks he can do. He's spent his entire life being able to do whatever he wants and treat people, women, any way he wants to
Yes.
treat them because he is an Osmond
That's the-
in this community.
That's the vibe I got, where I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know him, but I'm like, the way you're talking to Brittany online and to her face is giving I don't respect women.
Yeah, like I have had
100%.
every single thing given to me, and
He
like
was-
I
he
can
was
do
saying
whatever I
something
want.
along the lines of like the way you would treat this friendship after like all the time and energy I put into it. He used some other words, but I was like, the way he phrased that, I was like,
Yeah,
it's giving like the Botox has gone to your head, and now
Mhm.
like you've lost.
it's blocking something.
It's
yeah.
blocking something,
All he
yeah.
can do is text a brow girl. It's literally, it's just so idiotic for him to be like, I put so much time into this. You know how much more time I could have spent texting Angie's brow girl, but now I'm dealing with you.
That's what he was-
It's
Literally.
It's
He was
just
giving.
like I was trying to fuck around, and you're making me find out.
Brittany did stand up for herself to the degree until he was like, and then you let Lisa call me, and then she was like, oh, you're right. My
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah,
As bad as he is, it's still all of Brittany's fault.
You think so?
It is.
As far as it relates to her world and her problems and what's upsetting her, I don't know how old she is, but like I said last week, she's old enough to know better.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, this is absurd behavior by him. And someone at her stage in life, he's walking around like an 18-year-old fuckboy. He has all the alarm bells. He is letting everyone know how dangerous he is as a friend or a partner. You know what I'm saying? He is projecting it. He is letting everyone know. He is flying all his
Okay.
flags. She's got all her friends letting her know. She's asking for advice, and now she's getting mad. She's doing what 19-year-old girls do
But I
when they
don't-
get mad at her friends.
She's
when
matching his
she's
energy.
because she decided to take him back after not officially breaking up with him in the first place.
maybe they're made for each other.
Exactly. I think they're perfect for each
Low
other.
key.
You're gonna talk our ears off. Or like being a friend of somebody who goes through breakups and on and off and on and off again. After a while, you're just like, I don't want to hear it. I don't
Yeah.
want to hear it because I know the second that I agree that he's a piece of shit, you're gonna tell me don't say that about him. That's my man.
I agree there's
Mm-hmm.
red flags, but I don't think she's at fault because if he's allowed to act immature, she's allowed to act immature.
Yeah.
You know? So
No,
it's like I think
No, and that's where I have a hard time going back to OC with Jen. I mean, this is just this. We're just getting a front row seat of Jen and Ryan without seeing Jen and
But
Ryan.
shouldn't that also play to Brittany's defense, where it's like she hasn't really had to care for herself till now, so like,
Mhm.
she is technically behind.
This is our first time meeting Brittany.
That's true.
You know, on TV, and maybe I'm wrong, but I can assume. I feel like I can safely assume that the Brittany complaining to her friends and then Brittany fighting with her friends for talking shit on Britney's male partners is a cyclical problem
Revolving.
that happens with Britney
Heather did say she's heard
Yeah.
this story before.
Yeah,
constantly.
but I also think it could be a thing of like, this is Britney's first season on TV. It will be very interesting to see after watching this all back how she will feel and how she will act.
Sure.
She also only got mad at Lisa because Jared like
That's
put
the
that
part.
bug in her
It's
ear.
just like, and also when you're in that toxic of a relationship, and also the way she was raised as like this good Mormon girl to like do everything from your men, it's just like, I think there's a lot more to Britney than we've seen so far, and I wish that she would be able to get out of this Jared Osmond hole and like actually show her personality and
I
who
kind
she
of have to agree
is.
with Nick though too, where I'm kind of like at the same time, at what point do you just say like grow up?
If
Yeah, I don't think it's an
maybe
excuse.
maybe this
Yeah.
is Britney's willingness to like insert this storyline for the sake of a storyline, and yeah, maybe we'll see like next season, season 6 or whatever. Maybe Britney will show the growth that we're expecting her to have now, but she's just kind of willing to show this messy aspect of her life, and maybe it's played up a bit. But I honestly don't think so. This doesn't seem like really good acting. This seems like
Her.
This is her. And also, if you're in a relationship and you're having your friends grab your phone and text the person that you're dating, like you should not be in that relationship.
I do stand by that too.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
My
is she-
one rule.
now,
If
Oh,
you can't
they
text
need-
them on your own, this is not
and now
your
you're going to
relationship.
turn
Yeah.
around and get mad at Lisa for what she said when you were sitting next to her the entire time, could have taken your phone.
She should have
That
broken up with
was-
him at the Costco comment. Like,
I agree.
yeah.
That was a crazy thing though. You saw when like she confronted Lisa. Lisa was like, "Hold on, wait, you're mad at who?"
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
What?
laughing.
And I'm just saying, if Britney would complain to me about Jared, I would Google him eventually. I would.
Mhm.
When eventually, especially when Britney is like, well, he didn't actually do that. And then when she started defending him, I would go back and it'd be like,
So would you do a background check or would you get a DM?
probably, eventually with Britney, honestly, I probably would
Meredith-
get a background fucking check
I don't
because
know.
it would be like the 17th time
Yeah.
that Britney was like, I'm definitely leaving him. And then finally her to come back and then tell me why I'm being unfair to him. Can you imagine what it would be like to have to listen to Britney complain over and over for hours and then yell at you for talking down on the very
It's
guy?
kind of
That was
incredible.
wild. That part one that was wild.
I do kind of love that this is now happening in Salt Lake because we really have not seen that much like messy relationship drama, not between the girl. You know what I mean? Just to watch someone's mess in
They've-
their relationship.
They've already
'cause they're-
attacked the husbands. We're
they-
over that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like now it's like, okay, there's no like, you want to talk about the husbands.
Exactly.
It's very much like, no, I want to,
No,
I am
we actually
front row
do. We really
eating
want to talk
popcorn
about
The
for
boyfriends.
Jared
We're
Osmond.
going after the
Actually-
boyfriend.
We're all
the
driving
boyfriend
the
is
hate bus.
great to go after.
You
And so
also-
I'm enjoying it.
Do you think we'll get more of them? I hope so.
I
No,
sure hope
he needs to be
so.
off TV. I'm
No,
sorry.
are you kidding? He was obsessed with the fact that he
I think there's a spin-off
had a
in the
camera
works.
and
Yeah.
he was at the lunch
ready.
and
I
he had
think
a
we should make him a
scene.
half. Yes, I think he can't help himself.
He loved it.
Yeah.
He loves it so much.
I don't like this
He
man.
will not.
I don't either,
Oh,
but he's good TV.
He's a terrible human being.
But it's like, should we platform these people?
Yes.
But I also,
No, because it's okay because in
Yeah.
we're platforming him in a universe where we
Idea.
know that we expect terrible behavior.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
looking to him for influence.
I
Yeah.
don't want him on the same screen as Britney. I think we need an ultimate girls trip and like throw the husbands on a trip. Like that's what we need.
That would be great.
The way he treats Britney and like that dynamic, we don't.
No,
need.
but
Yeah.
I want to be clear.
No, I know. I'm
Brittany
not saying
treats
you are.
herself this way.
Well, she
does.
She deserves some grace though. She was in love.
What grace? No.
We've all been there
This
where
isn't
we're in love
This
and
isn't
we're
love.
like
Yes,
acting
we
crazy.
were 19, Justin.
Okay,
And
but they
at
do
some
say the
point-
older you get, you do turn like you age backwards the older you get.
what about like the
Mentally.
whole like you accept the love you think you deserve?
Well, and she thinks she deserves that.
Yeah,
That's what she's
so
used
that's
to.
I
it's
think it's
like-
just like, I hope that it seems like, I hope they don't get so sick of her bullshit that
That's
they
what I'm
don't
afraid
want to
of.
help her.
Or
Because
give her
I
a
think
second
like
season.
she does, I mean, and at a certain point, you can only offer someone so
Mhm.
much help until it's like, okay,
And my
this
point
is
of
you.
saying
But
this, there's an unlimited supplies of Jeremys in the world.
Yes.
And if you
Jared's.
Jared's.
Jared.
There's an unlimited supply.
And Jeremy's too.
I don't,
Jeremy's?
and
He says Jeremy. He can't say Jeremy. I know.
Jeremy,
It's,
Jeremy,
Jeremy?
Jeremy,
Okay, sorry. Continue.
Jared.
Yeah.
There's an unlimited supply of fuckboy or loser men. I don't care. There are. Nellie's mom out there single, living life. Unfortunately, it's very easy for her to still meet fuckboys. The goal is you grow up and you learn from these behaviors and mistakes. And sometimes you step in it and you let the world get the best of you. But Britney has shown no signs at all. And she's gaslighting her friends who are just trying to help her. And it's like, come on. And if it's not Britney's fault, then there's no hope for Britney. You know what I'm saying? Because there isn't an unlimited supply of these men. And if it's always these guys' fault, then she will never be able to help herself. At some point, she has to look in the mirror and say, I have to stop allowing this type of behavior to get the best of me.
That
I
is
have to
true.
stop
Yeah.
making excuses for these people. I have to start picking myself, setting some healthy boundaries, identifying these behaviors before I get sucked in. It's just like, come on.
Also, Salt Lake City, not that big. So you don't even need a background check. Apparently, you can just bring up a name and someone will be like, oh
Yeah.
my God, my brow girl. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, all the proof is all there.
She needs a hug. That's all.
She does need a hug. She needs a hug and some cognitive behavioral therapy.
Oh my God. I will say the biggest switch of this episode was Mary going from like attacking the whole like Heather of it all and then going, or well, not necessarily Heather, but like the whole friendship with Lisa. And then she goes, body positivity. And I was like,
That was
the last 5 minutes, I was
crazy.
like, girl.
But before we
That
got
was
to that, I just
crazy.
like that Mary actually said what was going on with Heather, which is like she is
Started
always
off with.
Yeah.
yes.
she's always just like defending someone else. Like she's
Mhm,
always
mhm.
again, she's always like the hype man or like the person fighting someone else's fights, and it's just like, wait, what? First it was Jen Shaw, now it's Lisa. Like the people who are fighting for like top dog in the group, Heather always wants to be their number two. It's kind
Mhm.
of bizarre. And I really like a lot about Heather. I think Heather is smart and intelligent. She makes good points. I really like her ITMs, but I love how Mary called her out for that. It was just like it was so on point.
Well, it's in a
Yeah.
fascinating position too, because it's like with Brittany being there, Mary no longer hates Whitney. And with like
Mhm.
Whitney not being Lisa's best friend, Heather now wants to be Lisa's best friend. So now Mary can like attack Heather, or not
Yeah.
even attack, but confront Heather. And that's where we end up in this position.
But even
Where that
because
would
when
have never
Mary
happened
called her
before.
out, she's like, you've known Andrew for a longer period of time than Lisa. And like you could tell like Heather's response was kind of like,
Heather went, yeah.
Well, Mary's the one you don't want coming after you. So you could tell
Exactly.
Heather was like,
Because Mary will say anything.
Mary doesn't care. Like, that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's calm, cool, collected. She's like, no, but you're in the middle of everything. And
She's
you say
not
you're
playing the
two-faced.
same game.
And she'll
She
say it
was
to
on
your
a
face.
different plane than the rest of them.
Yeah.
what was on Heather's face while this was all
it was the
going
mud.
Dirt.
Because she
And
said,
someone that was fucked up. Someone in production, one of those women should have been like, "Come here, let me
Yeah,
just,
why
let me
do they-
just like
Okay,
Yeah.
Mama
I did,
bird you.
I
What
did
are you
pay
doing?"
close attention to this. So for context, she was in the front of the whatever you call that car, and like so she got all the mud in her face everywhere. First of all, I was like, nobody told her to like cover or that there was gonna be mud splattering. Nobody told her.
Well, Mary wore white.
Then someone said it when she got off of the car. Someone was like, Heather, there's like stuff all over your face. It looked like she tried to wipe it off, but like you know when how mud stains your face, like your skin.
It was on
sometimes?
her lip.
That's what I'm saying. I think it stained her skin, and like Heather's the type to be like, you know what, I'm down for the bit. It's a bit now. So I think
Yeah.
she just was like,
I
I
guess.
don't give a
She-
fuck. Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say though, I thought it was a really, really cool scene when they were on the slopes and they kind of like paused just to like gossip in the middle of the like going down.
they do it
The
every time.
mountains.
They do it every time. They're like, we're
Yeah.
gonna go ski,
It's
but like
kinda
before they
badass,
ski, they're
though.
at the top.
Yeah.
Like Heather,
Yeah.
Whitney, they're fucking good.
Yeah.
Like they're just like casually like just slaloming down the slopes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
kind of just cool.
I didn't see Mary being like an adventure seeker.
The
Like,
fact
out of all
that
the
Mary
seasons, I never-
loves ziplining, I was like, what?
She didn't
She
look like-
loves Miller High Life, the champagne and beers, and ziplining.
She's a different Mary this season.
I
Because also the
know.
dancing where she was like
yeah.
bumping it. I was like,
Like,
good for her.
Why do I want to hang? Like, I feel like
and
she'd
then
be
she was
fun.
secretive when they were like, where did you see Heather's daughter? A dance class? Why we at a dance class?
That was so
Workout?
funny.
The
took,
wind.
like-
No, she said
Yeah.
the wind blew me there.
The wind blew me there.
Where did you see her? The wind.
Yeah.
The wind.
I love
That was so
But
funny.
it was interesting because, I mean, the whole internet has been like, okay, Heather looks entirely different this season. Like, are they going to address it? Are they going to address it?
Yeah.
And you would have thought they would have started the season addressing it because she looks different.
No, they started the season with the podcast.
The podcast,
which-
which is
Yeah.
brought up again this episode.
Uh huh.
But then Mary was the one to bring up the Ozempic, which is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Mary has made not very nice comments about Heather's weight in the past. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like there is a level of like to it. But at the same time, Heather has like publicly had this brand of like body positivity. And then she's kind of like, I think Heather's just lost in the sauce of her own character on the show at this point.
Yeah.
And she's willing to like sell out in order to be famous.
Can't Heather have just changed her mind though about
She could
Her
have.
brand?
Yeah. Yeah.
But Mary had a point where it was like Mary on the show.
Yeah.
And you too, you had a point too where it's like people were telling her originally that it was like you look like you're on Ozempic, which I mean that's a conversation whether we can question that or not. But then Heather came out and was like, no, like, you know, I love my bigger size because I've been criticized for it. Like this is all me, this is all natural. And then like 2 months later, she was like, I'm on Ozempic, by the way, guys.
And body positivity is a lie.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, so that's where
Which
people are like,
she's not wrong in the way that she said body positivity is a lie, in the way that it's only positive when your body is deemed as beautiful.
Yeah, she was right.
Which is
yeah.
true, but it's like, I don't think she stands up for herself enough. She says what she thinks everybody wants to hear.
I feel like, kind of going off of what you're saying, though, too, is that it's like, I feel like she wants a brand, but doesn't know what that brand is. So it's like 1 second it's bad Mormon, next second it's body positivity. And now it's like
Now it's good
Lisa's
Mormon,
number
or
2.
Good time girl.
But exactly, but
Yeah.
it's like everything that she says, and this is why you always ask me why I have an issue with her, is because it seems like what Mary said, she's a little two-faced, and she kind of contradicts herself
Again, not me.
year after year. Not Mary on this show, Mary Cosby.
Well, it does play into she's always someone else's number 2. She's never willing to be her own number 1.
Even
Like Heather's not willing to be like, you know what, it's my season. I'm going to be me regardless. I'm just going to go for it. She's always maneuvering
Even
in a way.
The lie about the black eye, where it was just like this illusion where maybe a spider laid eggs in it, maybe this, and then it's like a year and a half later, but then Jen Shaw is less of a threat to society than Monica. Like that,
Yeah.
That was
nothing makes
crazy.
sense.
That's
It doesn't add
insane.
up, yeah.
It is also valid for Heather to have experienced being like body positivity, this and this and this, with having a larger body type, and then when she's on Ozempic realizes like, oh, now everyone's like praising me because I'm skinny. Like all that body positivity is a lie. Like that is valid for her to feel that
think
way.
so,
Yeah,
too,
totally.
And that is valid for, and I feel like it's not fair for Mary to question that when it is like 100% Heather's experience, and she's just speaking on like the stuff she's experienced and the things people have like sent her way, which 100% is valid.
Yeah, especially because Mary has said negative things
To
about her
her.
body to her before.
Yeah,
Like-
and then has said things about how skinny she looks
Yeah,
now.
and Heather has literally said, "Oh, I'm like thinner now. Mary likes me." So it's like, I don't know.
It seems that they're both true. Like, I agree with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can change your mind. And I
Yeah.
think Heather made a very honest statement about body positivity that obviously is going to be controversial to a lot of people,
Mhm.
but it is an honest statement. I think it's just like Heather's whole existence, I think it just makes it easy to question her authenticity in general. So now for the people who want to question this, then
It also does just feel so icky to have like someone's body type be like a little bit of a storyline. It
Yeah.
just like
I agree.
I
to
just
then
don't
have
that.
everyone questioning and talking about it, and like it just feels icky.
No, it does feel gross now that with the whole Ozempic craze, which not even get into whether that's even right or healthy, but like nowadays, because so many people are on it, for the people who may be going about, changing their body or changing their eating patterns or changing their diet, their workout patterns, if they're getting healthier in their own way or losing weight in a what they deem as a healthy way, it sucks that now the first thing that people go to is Ozempic. And now people feel like they have to explain themselves.
Yeah.
And this whole conversation that the internet just jumps on and demands, how did you go about doing this? Even when they're not even necessarily like promoting their body changing. They're just like
Existing.
They're just existing, and being happy in the way that they're existing. And then people are just demanding answers. That just is really fucked up. For now we have all these different dietary pills, which is like, if that's what you want to do you, whatever. But I just, there are people out there actually doing it the old-fashioned way, and maybe it's just none of our business.
That's where I wonder too,
Yeah.
where like I feel like we're at a point culturally where it's like I think it's tacky to question people in Ozempic, Like now everybody's doing to anybody that's like changing their body shape, whatever that may mean.
Yeah.
That it's like either you were on it before, you weren't on it, or now you're on it. It's like, does it even matter at this point? Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's just like, I agree with you. I think the people arguing, or maybe anyone listening, might say something like, "Well, it's just the people who are claiming to be working out but are on Ozempic." I guess that's valid, but that doesn't give the internet the excuse to question everyone just so we can call out people.
Also, who gives a fuck?
Literally.
Like, who really cares if you're like, oh yeah, like it's people who get a BBL and they're like, no, I was doing squats. Like, okay, who cares?
I just don't care about other people's bodies that much, honestly.
But I feel like that is a rare.
Yeah.
Like, to not care what other people are
It's
doing
just
in
like-
their lives is rare.
Yeah, I just wish and it's like, it's not going to happen. So it's kind of like a useless wish, but it's like, why is it always such a conversation about like someone's body that is literally just like flesh? It's like you can only control it so much. It's really just like a vessel, and like it looks hot
Okay,
a lot of the
vessel.
time.
The only thing that's part of it is this like because there's people out there who are willing to take advantage of people's desires to look a certain way and then defraud them by suggesting that you can have your dreams come true by spending money in a way that doesn't actually work.
Listen, if you have money, you can be the most, whatever your mind is, picture perfect, whatever. You can buy all the procedures, you can get all the this, you can have the clothes, you can have the jewelry, you can buy anything with money.
Sure.
So
Why not? Do it if you want it.
it's just, I don't know. It's just really crazy.
Switching gears a little bit before we jump from Salt Lake City, I feel like they're kind of teasing a Monica return. And I say this because Whitney, her friend that she had on the phone that was basically like, and this is another
We're
thing
getting
Whitney-
back into the true crime.
So like
Yes.
Whitney's friend that was like, oh, it was a friend that owns an alcohol business. That person has a show with Monica. And like we have the soundbite earlier in the season. I don't know if she's going to be back this
Oh.
season, but they have a soundbite earlier in like the teaser where it's like, you went to our sworn enemy? And it's like, well, so there's, we know that like Whitney is loosely connected to Monica and that like also Mary and like Angie, that whole like, so who knows if she's coming back? But
And she's voicing House of Villains. So
House of
she's
Villains.
she's still working with Bravo.
So
Yeah.
you think it's basically the reveal was meant for us to think that Lisa is the one who sent this DM about Alibaba,
that was part of it, yes.
but it's really Monica.
well, no. I'm saying
Or-
Monica, I think, is like, she has a segue into the show really naturally.
Mhm.
So do we know if actually that was Lisa who sent those things?
No,
It
'cause
hasn't been revealed.
it hasn't been revealed, but you have
Whitney.
Whitney being like, I don't have a friend that owns alcohol or liquor business, specifically is what was said, besides Lisa.
If
Yeah.
it was Lisa, once
So-
again, that's some dirty fucking shit. That's not just some mild gossip. That
But
is going on a national platform and accusing your quote unquote friend
Mhm.
of defrauding her customers. That is a crazy accusation to throw out against
Yeah.
someone. And
I-
then have your number two, Heather, perpetuate that rumor on a national television show.
Well, it's not like Heather was perpetuating that. Lisa brought it to Meredith, who brought it to Heather.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That wasn't said before. That wasn't said before either. So that's I'm
Again,
like,
yeah.
it's the same blowjobs for jazz tickets thing where it's like it was one person, now it's
Yeah.
a different person. Now it's like we don't even know who said it at this
Yeah,
point.
and it's like it's very interesting, and it's why I love Meredith so much.
She's messy.
She's messy, but like Meredith does what Heather wants to be able to do, which is like stir the pot so much without being like culpable of anything.
Meredith makes it legal. That's the thing.
Meredith-
She brings in like
Mhm.
timestamps and it's like, and then she's like, it
Meredith
was just
brings
a
out that law
DM.
degree. Yeah,
She'll give you one word to make you say it.
yeah.
And then you'll be like, see, she said it.
And then she says it in the cadence of like Alibaba, and you're like, that's amazing.
I do think
and that's what you think.
I think
about.
Natalie solved the whole AliExpress thing of it last time we talked about it, where it's like maybe they just stole the images from her website.
Yeah.
Nobody's thinking it
That's-
went the other direction. I'm like,
Yeah.
Right? Like
Facts.
that's what
True.
Alibaba, AliExpress, that's what all of them
They all
do.
do
They
it.
could literally take a photo of this couch with both of
Mhm.
us sitting on it and be like, we're selling this couch. Here's a photo. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
They take
Yeah.
content from other people
And be like, we endorsed
make it their own.
Here at the Viall Files, we are obsessed with Skims. Natalie loves wearing her Skims. I'm obsessed with the men's products too because they are so comfortable and durable. Seriously, if you haven't tried the brand yet, what are you waiting for?
I think I can speak for most women that underwire bras are just not it. They're always like poking you in the side. They're uncomfortable. They hurt. But Skims underwire bras feels like you are wearing nothing. You have the support, you have the sexiness, you have the lift, but you don't have the pain or the uncomfortableness that comes with underwire bras. And I feel like that's truly changed my life. And something I feel like is hard, which Skims I feel like just dominates in this world, is having comfortability and sexiness in one. And thanks to Skims, they do that. Some of my favorite of Skims is the Fits Everybody push-up bra. Push-up bras are back in, I'm here to tell you. And Skims has one of the best ones. Wireless form t-shirt bra and the no-show balconette bra. Those are all my favorites.
If you haven't yet, be sure to let them know that we sent you after you place your order. Select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. You can get all their amazing selects and shop their entire lineup. Shop Skims bras at skims.com. Now available, again, in 62 sizes from 38 to 46H. Again, that's skims.com. Get them now.
what's a more like, okay, you're not defending Brittany, but are you defending Hannah? Because in this most recent episode, she was very much like,
Hannah from Love is Blind.
Love is Blind, sorry. So from Love is Blind, she was very much like, now I feel disrespected by you and Katie, which was kind of like a curveball of like, wait, hold on. Huh?
Remind me who Katie is.
Katie is her best friend, aka somebody she just met in the pods.
Oh.
Because
don't
Nick
think
was
like-
talking to her for like a quote unquote prolonged time about their experience in the pod and smiling. And Hannah was like, so what? What is this?
I think the biggest issue here is that her best friend is somebody she just met in the pods.
Facts.
That was questionable.
I think she was trying to really nail in that coffin and be like, she wasn't my friend. That was my best friend
Yeah.
that you were talking to.
Guilt.
I think she just really wants out of the relationship.
Well, and their relationship did end this episode.
I do, to that point, though, it really bothers me when people misuse the word best friend. That's a red flag in someone, in a person.
I can agree with that.
Okay, wait. I use bestie a lot.
Bestie's not the same.
Okay, good.
I have a lot of friends, a lot of like good group of girls, a lot of like, yeah, I would ride hard for you. I'd die hard for you. I have one best friend.
Same.
I have a couple, yeah.
I have a very like short view.
I have like a
Small
lot of
few.
people that I'm like,
My closest friends.
my
dearest
closest friends, I have
Mhm.
great friends, good friends, close friends, one best friend.
But and even if you aren't, maybe even if you're listening, you go, I really have three best friends. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who are out there calling every single friend, or more importantly, every person they know, their best friend. You know, it's like they
Yeah.
hang out one weekend and
Yes.
shared a moment. And
And
going
now.
forward,
Yeah.
they tell everyone else you're their best friend.
Yep.
You know, that's fucking weird. Someone you met in the pods, those people aren't your best friends.
Yeah.
You shared a traumatic experience with.
I was going to say, because
You
she
know?
brought two other best friends later on to their dinner with Nick.
Yeah, you don't, that's a red flag. There's a level of like, you know, you've known them for a while. Like you can vouch for them. Like people calling other people their best friend, it's like I'm immediately assuming something about a relationship that I'm clearly wrong by, especially if you're best friends with someone I know
Mhm.
or don't know. Or maybe, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're kind of advocating for someone to call someone your best friend. You don't just let anyone be your
Yeah.
best friend. You let
Standards
Yeah.
are low.
good people be your best friend. And so when you start labeling people your best friend when you're not really best friends with them, like that's
It's like
misinformation.
claiming somebody and
Yeah.
territorial.
And you're doing it for a weird reason. And I don't know what the reason is.
I feel like most people don't refer to their best friend as best friend either. Or is that just me?
You're probably right. Yeah, you're probably
Like, I'm not like saying my best friend, my best friend, my best friend.
I-
It's
Yeah,
more like
no.
I do if I'm telling a story.
Yeah.
If I'm like,
Okay.
oh, and then my
Well, yeah.
best friend and I
a
like
story, but like when
yeah.
you're talking
Yeah.
in the conversation of like you were talking to my best friend, it's like what she did with Nick.
Yeah, no.
Like if like that's something people don't really do, you'll be like my friend from home or like my childhood friend. Like there's other ways that I feel like people.
I probably would have just named her, been like,
Yeah,
well,
that's
you
the
were
thing.
talking to Katie for so long. But
Yeah.
it's like, I feel like because she kept saying best friend, she was really trying to make him feel
Nail it
so
in, yeah.
fucking bad.
Like you're a piece of shit
For
because
what he
that's
did.
my best friend.
it's also
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
every time she bonds with anyone for a weekend, she calls them their best friend.
but it's also just crazy how she's like, and now do you understand how like, and now you might not know this, but
So
she's just like-
condescending.
Wild. Well, that's when she sat down with her friends and Nick. If I was in Nick's position, I would be triggered. I'm sorry. Like you made me sit here and then you're having your friends lecture me too that I don't know, and they're lecturing me about something that I feel like they haven't even seen or
I know. I feel like Hannah could have been like, babe, no, like I've already,
we got
he's
this,
heard
it's
enough
fine.
from me.
And I love Hannah, but I was like, this, I would have left. And he sat down. He took
Yeah.
it.
Even as a human being who we got to interview, we love Hannah. but
Yeah.
We don't love Hannah on Love is Blind.
Well, and we do. I mean, she recognizes
Yeah,
that she
was
was
doing too
harsh
much.
and she was.
Yeah,
It was too much, and
She's
she
on her
like,
growth journey for sure.
Yes,
I mean, listen, like for anyone in a heterosexual relationship, like Hannah is like the blueprint of what you don't want to be for the ladies out there. You do not want to be
The dominant.
not even the dominant. It's just more the nagging, putting down, constantly belittling your partner. Everything they do is wrong. Everything they do is stupid. And like people like Hannah, like they can't tell when they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Think about Hannah. She went on a television show where she was mic'd up and cameras were all around and she couldn't see it. Like you see so many like partners out there, wives or girlfriends out there just belittling their men in public constantly. And their boyfriends are apologizing to their friend, like, you know, for their behavior, and their partners are constantly, I'm sorry.
Well, you can't say that you're doing it out of like, oh, I'm teaching you how to be a man or whatever, where it's like, but I don't see any positive reinforcement. I don't see you ever being appreciative
No.
of anything that he does, but you're ready to knock him down for every single thing he does wrong, which is apparently everything, every single moment that you guys are together.
And if
I
it's if they're this comfortable in public, imagine what it's like behind
Off
closed
cameras.
doors.
You know?
You know,
I think Hannah thought that this was going to go down very differently in the edit. I think she thought that Nick was going to come off as this guy who thinks pasta's in the fridge and doesn't know how to boil water. And now she's probably watching it back.
Well, sure, but that's kind of my point, though. I think even in life, outside of a TV show, I think partners who are like this, like Hannah, they always think they're justified,
Mhm.
you know, like they,
Right.
and when it all starts, they probably are. I'm sure, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Nick deserves criticism in this relationship without question.
For sure.
But there's a difference between just beating down your partner and rolling your eyes constantly and huffing and puffing about them and
Yeah.
like acting like you're embarrassed to be around them in public, you know, and then like and you're so embarrassed by their behavior that you put them down in public because you don't want to
Mhm.
be associated with their embarrassing behavior. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. And that's the thing why it happens in public is because they're so normalized by their like frustrations with their partner. They're out there putting them down in public. And again, I'm glad Hannah has recognized that. Like this is probably the best thing for Hannah to have seen.
I was just about to say that. I think she like needed to like have this, have to watch her actions back to learn that like, fuck, I have a problem and like I can't speak to people that way.
Yeah, because I'm sure her friends at the time have been like, you're kind of a bitch to your partner. And they've been like, oh no, he's just stupid.
Her own brother. Her brother was like, I'm scared of her too.
Yeah, true.
As soon as she came back from nothing, he was like, hey girl, we're fine.
But think about the level
Wild.
of to do this on camera and not realize
She
and
just
see
didn't know.
yourself. She
Yeah.
just didn't know. And you're right. She definitely thought it'd go a different way, you
Mhm.
know? But like, I don't think people who are in relationships criticizing their partners like this, I don't think they ever think they're out there coming across as like a mean person to their partner. They all think that they're the smart and funny ones apologizing for their partners. And it's just like 100% of the time, they just look like a dick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Always. I've never met someone who's mean to their partner and then people out there being like,
I get it.
I get it.
He deserved that.
You're
He
either
deserved
like
that.
break up
Yeah.
or stop being so mean.
Yeah. It's like, because you're supposed to be like a united front, a team. And so it's like, if y'all are going at each other and I'm sitting here like, okay, cool. Then I'm like, what the hell is happening behind closed doors that like, this is okay?
I keep thinking about Nick's mom too, watching this.
Oh, yeah, that's sad.
For a second, I thought you were talking about his mom. And I was like, what?
Yeah, my
Why?
mom doesn't watch Love is Blind.
I mean, like
Nick's
him being able to finally say, like, you're always talking down to me. We're not equals here. Like, they're not equals. She does not see him as her partner, as her equal, as her fiance. She sees him
doesn't.
as like this
A
small little
chore.
boy who, work.
Yeah. Like, ugh, I guess I'm going to have to teach you how to be a human. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Did you feel like there was going to be a fight when Ramses didn't know Marissa's birthday? Because I did.
I would have caused one.
Nick used to, every time he'd book my flight to come out and visit him when we were just like seeing each other, he'd always be like, tell me your birthday again. And I'd be like, you mother.
I knew her
You could
birthday,
write
but
it
it was just
down.
like,
You get
what?
scared, right?
It's like, if I mess this up, like, you won't be able to board the flight. You know, like,
I misspelled my own name for a flight once. And I
Nick.
had a hard time getting on said flight.
How did you spell it?
How did you misspell your name?
I forgot an L.
Oh, and the last name.
He went to,
I
he
was
went
like,
to
first
I
his.
name.
am dyslexic, whatever.
Nicholas.
Listen, I have my issues.
He was reading a book to River last night, and we were sitting on her bedroom floor, and he's reading Peter Rabbit,
Uh-huh.
The Tale of Peter
Very
Rabbit.
wordy book.
Yeah.
He's like, and the
So,
Yeah,
just
he's
saying.
like,
that
and the
rabbit's a gabber.
and the moth left of, and I was like, a moth. He's like, sorry, moose. And I'm like, moose. He's like, mouse. I'm like, how?
Aw.
Where did the
Trying.
T?
First, I actually
from?
said mouse, and then the picture had a butterfly, and I was like, "Oh, maybe they meant moth." So I said moth, and then I re-looked at the word, and I said, well, "Maybe it's a moose." Well, that sounds crazy, and I went back to mouse.
Poor River is like,
She's gonna see butterflies and be like, moose.
be like, she's like, what is? This
Anyways,
story?
that's my trauma. I knew her birthday. It was just like I wanted to verify because sometimes I'm just bad at paperwork.
For sure.
I'm also bad at birthdays, so I see you there.
I'm really
Where it's like
bad
I'm
at
afraid to double
birthdays.
check when I know it's their
I'm
birthday.
not bad at birthdays. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, but did Nick almost forget your birthday the same way Ramses almost forgot Marissa's birthday? Because then also we close this episode with like a fight.
Well, the first birthday that Nick and I were like, let's be exclusive. I was still living in Georgia, and he was like, he told me, he was like, I'm not going to get you anything for your birthday. And I was like, all right. And he didn't. He actually got me nothing.
Followed through.
Followed
He's
through.
honest.
Upfront
And I had,
expectations.
How are you cool about that?
It's some trauma that we do work through in couples therapy.
She brings it up
Every time.
all the time.
Every birthday, I'm like, well, do you remember that one where you didn't give me anything? I feel like we do need to make up for that. Make up for last time.
While we're
Coolest
here.
girlfriend ever, because absolutely not.
You know what I got her for Christmas that year?
What?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nick.
Whoa.
And I
This is
did,
not
and
a flex.
She got me a watch.
I got him a Citizen's watch, like a nice watch. And I also had got him a like housewarming gift and a birthday present.
I have
For all
truly
of
been
those
paying
years.
for it ever since.
I understand now
Yeah.
why.
Mhm.
But I do think that's the difference between like someone who like loves birthdays and holidays and gift giving and someone who doesn't.
For sure. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I'm like one of those people where I'm like, learn your partner, and then it's like if that matters to you, then it's the most special day
I was still
of the
learning.
year.
I was still learning.
Yeah.
Of course,
For
of
sure.
course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the next Christmas, I don't know which bag she got.
You went nuts, right?
I think she got diamond earrings, actually.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
So big.
Yes, that's good.
And
That's
a phone.
good.
shiny.
And a
That
phone.
was different. That was 2 different years. But yeah, he's done. Listen.
Did she
He's
get
made
a
it up.
Did she get a phone plan with the phone or just the phone?
No, just the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just curious.
We just got on a family
Yeah.
plan,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now you know you're really
You're
married.
official.
Yeah.
That's huge.
right?
Yeah.
I know. And I changed my number. It's a whole thing.
Oh my goodness. Oh wait, so that's why your number changed.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because I had the same one since I was 13 years old. And I was like, I
I
probably
was like,
don't need
way
That's a scary thing, though,
too
to
many
change
people
it.
have this number that shouldn't have this
I haven't
number.
changed mine. I'm
Facts.
like, that's your life.
No, I know. I was
Yeah.
like, and it's weird because you do have like a connection to it. You're like, I can't give this up. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the connection I have to my Georgia driver's license. But then it's like, okay, bitch, like people that you knew when you were 13,
Yeah.
like don't need to still be able
That's
to
true. Good
contact
point.
you.
I still
for
have my
any reason.
my like first number I ever had and my Florida driver's license.
I mean, throughout dating Allie, it was every once in a while I've been like, so-and-so reached out to me from way back when. And it was never, oh, cool. Thank God they reached out. I was always like, oh,
It was like,
well, how do you think you should respond to that? Or not?
yeah, it would be like my high school bully reached out and said she like wants to get together the next time I'm in town.
wild,
And my
first of all.
abusive
That's crazy.
ex-boyfriend's mother reached out to ask me
Yeah.
if I'm like ever gonna come over for spaghetti again. It's like, there's 2 things.
Time to get a new number.
Yeah.
It's time to get a new number.
Do we think Ramses and Marissa are going to be together?
No.
Because this ending fight came out of nowhere once again.
I think Ramses is kind of a fraud.
I'm excited to talk to Marissa about Ramses. I do think she's gonna like. bend
So
them.
far, everyone we've talked to about Ramses has kind of defended him. It's been like, yeah, he said this, but he's a great guy. I don't know.
But Marissa's the one who's living it, so she's the one who like these conversations are happening with. So maybe she will have a different perspective.
Maybe. I said this on that Johnny Depp documentary. We love to like people who generally agree with us about things in life. And Ramses says a lot of things that a lot of people like to be aligned with. And I think we don't like to look at what people actually say and do in life and really actually like hold that to a higher degree. You know, it's just like this has more weight, what they actually said and did. And I don't know, I feel like his peers are a little too reluctant to actually look at what he said and did and think, well, maybe the other stuff is more performative than it comes across.
I mean, I will say, I feel like I got more and more upset with like every scene going forward that the two of them come up in. You know what I mean? Where
Mhm.
it's like last one's like, okay, like maybe you just really haven't had girlfriends that have periods. I don't know.
It's a different fight each time, too.
And now I'm like, you're acting concerned about the idea of like this ending in marriage when you signed up for this show. You knew exactly what it was. It's kind of like for me when I stopped watching Bachelor originally was because it was like, how many times are we going to get to the end of this? And then you guys act shocked that we have to get married or maybe we should date. That's not why I signed up to watch this. And that's where I'm like, you copping out being like, well, my family showed up to my first wedding, or it's not that important and whatnot. It's like you're minimizing something that's a big deal for somebody
But
else.
that's what's fucking crazy about Ramses. He's been married. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking about
That is
like,
the wild part,
like I
too.
said early in this episode, and I was thinking about it yesterday. And then I thought to myself, like, I imagine even people listening be like, oh, Nick, well, you grew up with sisters. And be like, so? Like, I didn't talk to my sisters about this fucking shit or
Mhm.
sex or periods. That's not why. It's because when I was 18, I got a girlfriend. And my girlfriend, like, taught me a lot of things that I didn't really know or understand. I learned a little bit maybe in sex ed, but she like just, being around her and being open to learning about her needs
Mhm.
and listening to what she had to say about her POV, about life and sex. I learned a lot because I was willing. This is almost a 30 something, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s. He's been married. He has no excuse to have these POVs and thoughts about sex and periods and women other than he just doesn't give a shit. He has to, you have to not care. You have to not want to educate yourself. You have to not want to prioritize the needs of your partner to have the point of view that he has about this topic.
He's 35.
Oh my God. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's not willful ignorant. It's not like he just doesn't know better. You can't, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. He doesn't think it's important. It's wild.
No, I'm with you.
What?
Since these episodes have aired, I was just really trying to. It was since these episodes have aired, has he said anything? Has he posted an Instagram apology story, a black screen, a notes app, anything? Have we gotten anything from Ramses, or is he disappeared?
That is a good question.
I feel like I was told he's not doing interviews or anything. So I don't know if he's talking to anybody about it.
He hasn't done anything. I know he hasn't done anything.
Interesting.
From October 12th and behind the scenes with Mars. That's what he calls Marissa.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
it's just goes to show you he really doesn't give a fuck, you know?
Well, and to see Marissa cry, seeing herself in that wedding dress, and then to see another conversation or conflict of their marriage is very much I feel bad for her.
Yeah, I think they're going to break up.
I would if I was Marissa. I'd be like, okay, there's 5 different million things you're bringing up right now, and it's you keep saying something, and to me, it looks like you went out. And I love you, but
Yeah.
I can't deal with this another time.
He's doing the classic thing where he's trying to get Marissa to break up with him.
Exactly.
He's let me be as awful as I can, and she won't want to be with me. She won't want to marry me. She'll say no at the altar. It's do you remember when Micah, but she was I think the best thing I can do right now is to allow you to answer first.
Literally.
Although I think she would have said yes, though.
It was Paul.
No, yes, Paul.
Paul.
I do think she would have said yes, but I think because she was I think you should go first. And him being it's a no for me. She's well, it was also a no for me.
But also the quote is when somebody tells you who they are, believe them. And it's he's literally telling you, I'm not sure if she goes through with this marriage, there's a very high chance it's not going to work out because he's already telling you at this point, I'm not sure on you.
And
I'm not sold on you.
He's been through another marriage, so to that point, it's you would think he would know for sure his second time around.
This is why I think the Ramseses of the world are way more problematic than the Stevens, because I don't think the Stevens can help themselves. They're just yeah, I'm a freaky guy, Steven's so just transparent eventually, even though he was kind of a big liar. He's not a very good one, I don't think. And I think the Ramses of the world, I think he's very good.
Just very
at being-
deceitful,
Yes.
It's he made her believe all of these things in the pods, and then you get out and you just have all of these issues with her and what she's done in her life, and it just seems very polar opposite.
And he says it in a way where it's again Steven is just more hey, everything's cool, I don't judge. Steven just projects this overabundance of acceptance because deep down he has these skeletons in his closets and he's just afraid people are going to judge him. It's not okay, but I can at least understand that. The Ramses of the world, again, he makes you feel shitty for your decisions, and he's just always looking at you with shame and judgment.
Yeah, it's the way Ramses says it is Marissa should be I am so sorry that I have a period. Fuck, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I have to get it removed. That's the way it's that's how he.
And then Ramses is thank you for recognizing that and saying
exactly.
That
he would be
that,
thank you so much for finally.
As long as you yes, thanks for taking accountability. Yeah, it's
Crazy.
just wild. Anyways, let's talk to Marissa and see if she in any ways agrees with us.
Hi everyone, how are you doing?
Hello.
Good, Marissa. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Doing well, thank you.
You look great. You're smiling. You're glowing. I don't know if this means you're happily in love and married, but you look great.
Or finally came to your senses and realized that this is not the best situation for you. Could be either one. We don't know.
Who knows? Yeah, you know what? You're just got to watch in 2 days, right?
We will certainly watch. Let's just get right into it. I know you have limited time. I've been hypercritical of Ramses. I loved him so much, as many people did early on. Seemed this enlightened man, just said all the right things, great looking guy, seemed like he's really in touch with his feelings. And then all of a sudden the sex conversation with you guys happened. And it just he just did an absolute nosedive. I'm curious how you see it. I think whether it was the birth control conversation or the period sex conversation, I honestly don't know which one was more shocking and alarming.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this earlier. Since I was an 18-year-old boy, if you've had any girlfriends whatsoever with a willingness to just understand what's important to them, what they prioritize, their needs, et cetera, et cetera. You kind of learn this stuff early on. And Ramses is a married man and he's in his 30s. And it just seems like he has no excuse to have this point of view. Ignorance doesn't seem to be a good argument. It just seems like he just doesn't care. But anyways, enough about what I think. I am curious about, what this has been like for you. And I guess, when you guys were having this conversation, was it as shocking to hear it out of his mouth as it seems to be as shocking for us to watch it?
Okay, so the conversation was not as shocking in person. I think I was, as you can kind of tell, like I'm usually very bubbly and like I, kind of speak without thinking. But in that moment, I was pretty quiet. That's because I was over here like wheels turning. I was trying to figure out like, where is this coming from? What are your intentions? Like, what are you implying? So at the moment, I didn't think it was as shocking. I think I was just like, I was very annoyed that he even brought this up because we were such a physically intimate couple. And, he knew what was the situation. So I was more like annoyed, not as shocked. Now, watching back, I will tell you, I was definitely shocked. Like, a third person view is just so different. And so seeing that conversation and being like, oh my God, okay, that did not look good. And I don't think that Ramses meant the conversation to come across that way. I think that his words, the wording and how it came across for him, it was pretty representative. Like it's not like it's a lie. It came out of his mouth, but I do think like he didn't realize what he was saying. And I think that's where I'm like, I watch back a lot of our scenes and I'm like, ooh, like, I think a lot of the times he doesn't realize how it's coming across. And I don't know where that comes from, but.
Well, thanks for bringing this up. Cause I guess just two questions I would want to ask you. Ramses hasn't seemed to have spoken on any of this, but I wouldn't be shocked when he does, as many people in his position before him will say something like, it was taken out of context, it was edited, blah, 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 blah. But you were there. So just out of curiosity, do you remember how it was aired? Like, is it fairly accurate? Or do you think it would be disingenuous for Ramses when he does speak on this for him to blame the edit?
I don't know what he will think about that, if it's the edit or not. I could see how he might allude to that and say it might be the edit. I personally have sat a lot with that question of like, I remember the conversation going one way and I remember feeling another way. And then I also see it and it's a different way. So I don't necessarily think it is the edit. I do think that you guys are not obviously seeing the full, like the end of the conversation, right? So the conversation about birth control, for example, you aren't seeing that. We talked about vasectomy right falling into that, so and how he addresses like, wow, like I, kind of have this male privilege. I should have like been more aware. Like, so you don't see that type of context. I think he would probably bring that stuff up for sure and say like, yeah, I sounded like a dickhead in the beginning, but then, I kind of came to. And I think that's what happened a lot with our conversations.
I mean, that's fair. I guess I'm just more shocked that, especially the period sex, I think it's just more like, what?
This is going to happen once a month. Like, I'm not going to be in my right mind once a month.
Yeah, I just like, short of him like being like, surprise guys, I'm a 16-year-old boy stuck in a man's body. Like nothing else honestly would make sense unless he like did it for the bit. When I'm first watching this, I'm thinking, all right, maybe just given the situation they're in and marriage being right around the corner, they're forced to have tough conversations that might seem a little bit like out of touch. But I don't know. I'm sorry. I just like he sounded like a man who needed you, a woman, to explain to him why he's not going to get as much action while you're on your period. And that seems, I just don't know what context he could be speaking from is what I'm trying to figure out.
How did you feel in that moment when that conversation happened?
Well, I was pissed. I was like, dude, I'm sick. I'm driving back and forth from Baltimore. I'm in law school. I'm carrying the weight of the wedding planning at this point. So I was really annoyed. I would say that as I look back and I watch it and I remember how I felt in that moment, I think that at the time I didn't think there was not that I didn't think there was a problem with the conversation. Like he's fair to ask about our intimacy. And he didn't he didn't only mean sex. Like he was talking about other forms of affection and all that, like the petting thing, that stuff where I was like, do you feel rejected? So he was talking about other forms, but as I look at it, I realize like, I'm shocked that I'm not more shocked, to be honest, when we're having the conversation. And I think it's just, to be honest, like as a woman, you're kind of conditioned at times to deal with with guys like that, where guys are like, oh, I want to have sex. Like you kind of, I don't know. I've experienced that multiple times. I think I was just like, oh, great. It's just another guy wanting to be physically affectionate with me when I don't want to. I have an autoimmune disease that I was flaring at the time. I'm PMSing. I'm doing all these things. And here he is complaining about this. That's how I felt in the moment.
It's incredibly valid. And I think without the context, it is hard for us viewers to like give him any sort of understanding or empathy during both of these occasions. I think another time in which we were a little rubbed the wrong way was him judging you for your serving this country.
Yeah. That, look, I'll put it this way. It's been a year and I've done a lot of like therapy before and after the, filming. And something I realized that's so obvious is how people pleasing I can be and how accommodating and I'm compromising to my own values I am. So in that conversation with Ramses about the military, I was obviously feeling judged. I vocalized that to him, but I was just like trying to grapple with like my complicated feelings as well as the judgment. And I just couldn't figure it out in that scene. Like I just couldn't figure it out in that conversation. And it was something that we kind of discussed a little bit off camera of just like, dang, it's a bummer that you don't like want to really support me here. But I also thought it wasn't a big deal because I was like, well, I'm never joining the military again.
You were so gracious to honestly communicate your own issues you had with the military, which honestly, someone in your position is it's taking a risk to do that on a national platform. I'm sure a lot of your peers and people you serve with might feel a certain way, and yet you were willing to speak on that and be very honest about that, while in addition to still serving your country. And even that wasn't good enough for him. It was like, it wasn't like, hey, I'm glad that you have an open mind to seeing, what our government or what our military does and have a more broader approach, but still thank you for your service. Thank you for sacrificing your literal life and doing something like that, quite honestly, Ramses or myself or anyone in this room didn't do. And then all the privileges that we all experience are a direct result of your service. Thank you, by the way. It just seemed fucking nuts that he was able to speak on this in such a level of like authority. He doesn't have any authority to speak on, but he came from a place as if he did.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, he did. Like, I think when he says like, well, no one put a gun to your head to join. At that point, I was like, did you listen to anything I said? Like, I just told you about you don't realize it was so complicated. And I think, again, at that time, I was still grappling with my own feelings. And I was like, I want to respect your feelings, but, I wasn't receiving the same return. And again, that kind of comes with, I was there for love. So I tried to be understanding and I wasn't really necessarily receiving the same in return. I recognize that now.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I think also Nick loves your mom. He was like, this is what this is like a mother should be. Like these parents being like, oh yeah, for sure, like whatever you want to do. He was like, I don't stand by that. Have you and your mom had a conversation about her harshness on Ramses that first meeting?
Yeah, we have. And, thank you for the kind words about my mom, because she is a very protective, loving mother. And she supports me.
I loved her so much.
But you know what? We've talked about it. And she's more upset that she feels like she embarrassed me. And I told her she didn't embarrass me. Like, I told her, okay, we don't have to talk about his looks. Like, we can leave that off the table, Mom. But, I told her that before filming, and she did what she wants, and she's an adult. But at the end of the day, I prefer to have a parent who asks the hard questions and sees kind of through the bullshit, because she knows me. I'm a lover girl. I'm a little delusionally romantic. And she knows that I'm just going to accept the person for who they are. And even if it's not that great for me at times. And so I am happy that she asked the hard questions. And honestly, Ramses was very understanding as well. He was like, oh, it's a Hispanic mother who's very protective. I don't have a father in my life. So she kind of takes that role. And I think if she was a man or a dad and she was saying some of the harsh things, minus the looks, but saying some of the harsh things to him, I think nobody would have.
Yeah, everyone been standing up and like, oh, we love a tough dad. Exactly. I think you nailed it perfectly. And honestly, that was the only time after the pods, because we loved him in the pods, it was the only time I liked Ramses for his willingness to take your mom's criticism, because while your mom's criticism was direct, it was more than fair. And it wasn't like she was like, don't date this guy, I'll forbid you to be with him. She just gave him a hard time. She voiced her very valid concerns, which were, like you said, were more to do about like your state of mind and your kind of like willingness to brush all the valid concerns under the rug, and your mom, being your mom, saw that in her daughter, and she stepped up and like said what she needed to say at the risk of, the Love is Blind Nation criticizing her. Your mom cared more about being your mom in that moment than anything else. And most parents in that position, which I've seen firsthand, don't. And I think your mom deserves a lot of credit for that. So
thank you. We were ourselves, like, you kind of forget the cameras are there, and she was like uncomfortable as well. But at the end of the day, like, everyone in my family, we're all pretty much the same. We are just who we are, and you love us or you don't love us. And that's okay, because my family, we love each other. So at least we have that.
Okay. Do we have any more questions for Marissa before we have to let her go?
I do. Just outside, taking the spotlight off you for a second, but who out of the other couples were you most surprised by, like, watching the season and how their relationships have played out?
Yeah, I was so surprised with Hannah and Nick. And I am surprised about like how she talked to him and treated him. And, Hannah and I were very close, and we were very close in the pods and throughout that experience. And I knew that she was struggling, and I knew that there was things going on behind scenes that was causing her to feel like insecurities and things like that. But I also didn't realize she was talking to him that way. There's a difference. You could be having a struggle with your partner, but I was so shocked. Like, I was like, oh my God, like,
It's hard to watch.
it is hard. It is incredibly hard. And I'm like, Hannah, yeah, I don't have much to say on that, but I will say that it was very hard. And I don't I'm not like in love with Nick and his behavior, but I also don't think anyone deserves to be spoken to that way or treated that way. They're supposed to be treated as an equal.
We had a chance to talk to Hannah last week. It seems like she recognizes that too. And we were actually saying this earlier. Honestly, I feel like maybe this is the best thing for Hannah, because I think sometimes people, who demonstrate the behaviors that Hannah demonstrated, I think often they think they're funny, or they think they're like doing this for their partner, or they think they have the right to because their partner has their flaws. Because we know, like, Nick has his flaws. They're evident, they're obvious. But I think we often don't see it in ourselves when we act this way to our partners. And for Hannah to see it on this stage, if this isn't going to be a wake up call for future relationships, I don't know what will. Because, like,
Which I think it is, because she very much said, like, guys, it was hard for me too. Like, I will not speak that way going forward. This is a learning experience. So we applaud Hannah for learning and growing from her mistakes.
Do you see the change? I'm assuming you've hung out with her. I think you talking to her. Do you think she will follow through with this learning lesson?
I'm an optimist, so like a disgustingly positive person. So I hope that she does, and I hope to see it. Yeah, I know that she's aware of it. It's different of being aware and then actually doing it. So
okay. I'm hearing doubt in your voice, Marissa. You don't have to say anything. She's your friend.
It's not doubt. It's just she's young, and she has like room to. She's
not that young. She's not that young.
I was gonna say, I'm
not that young.
I was never that mean when I was that young either. So. Yeah. I think that as long as she, gets into therapy and does the actual work, other than just being like acknowledging it, then yeah, I believe it could happen. But I would like to see that, of course. And I don't know if she's there yet.
In the closing scene of episode 11, it ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger with you and Ramses. Him kind of saying, like, I don't know if I'm ready for another marriage. In that moment, did you feel like you were trying to convince him that he was?
Oh yeah, I've seen some commentary about that. No, I don't think I was trying to convince him, but I am someone who just how I feel is what I'm going to say how I feel. And so in that moment, I don't see it as I'm begging him or trying to convince him. I'm just like, hey, we're in a partnership. We make decisions together. And sometimes in any situation, maybe you're not making the decision, the other person is, but in that moment, we're together, we're talking about our relationship and the doubts, and you're allowed to have doubts. I, never wanted him to never express any doubts, but, no, I don't think I was begging him, but if that's what it looks like, so be it.
Well, that's also bullshit criticism from the audience, because like we're also in a world where, one moment you have Ramses, giving Marissa like this security and assurances, like, oh no, I still want to do this, because no one wants to be called out for doubting their relationship. So like it's kind of also in a relationship, what's the balance between, being there for your partner? Like Ramses comes to Marissa as almost if like he's expressing how he's feeling, hoping that Marissa would almost like talk him off the ledge. So like, how do you do that in this atmosphere without, you know what I'm saying? Like he's setting, you're almost.
It's like you're being there for him.
Yes.
And people are taking it as like you having to like get down on your knees and beg him to be with you, which.
But that's the problem with dating culture these days.
Yep.
Nobody really wants to sit down and like
Totally.
work on something together because they think, oh, the ego gets in the way. Like, oh my God, I would never beg for a man. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to get on my knees and scream, don't leave me. But you care and you love about somebody. You want to understand what they're thinking and you want to kind of reason with them. Like, hey, baby, like we've been good this whole time. You've been so sure. Like, are you sure these people coming in are causing doubts? Like, what's causing that? So, yeah, if people want to think that, sure. I don't.
But, because also in the moment, you don't usually realize that until after the conversation where you sit back and go, wait, were they trying to do that? And I know that the episode left on off a cliffhanger, so we don't know if you guys are together. I don't think you are. Can't have you confirm that. But something that we've talked about, I've said on this show, I'm curious what you think, regardless of what happened between the two of you. But I think men do this thing, especially when they want to exit relationships, is that they will behave in a way that makes it easier for their partners to break up with them because they don't want to be the bad guy. And watching this back, to me, it gives Ramses trying to take the easy way out, and he's giving you information in hopes that you end the relationship so that he doesn't have to. And I'm curious if you felt that way, regardless of what ended up happening in your relationship.
I don't think I felt that way in that moment. Like maybe, I don't know, watching back, I haven't really felt that way, but I would say that I think you're 100% right. Most men that I've dated, I've always broken up with all the guys I've dated because it's not because I all of a sudden stopped liking them. It was like their behavior changed and it was to the point where they were just trying to end the relationship, but they were too much of a coward to end it. And so if that's what was happening, I guess we'll find out. But yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for giving us so much context, and it was very much needed, and I'm excited to see the rest of your journey unfold.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. This is really cool.
What's one thing you want to address with Ramses at the reunion, regardless of your relationship status?
I think I would address, I actually don't know.
Okay. Well, think about it.
She's thinking about it. The reunion isn't.
Is it safe to say you have things you want to address?
There are things that I might want to address, but I would say the main thing is I would address my mother's comments and how that might have made his family feel. Because regardless of my mom and how much I love her, she was really harsh to Ramses about his looks and his style, and that might have upset his family. So I would want to address that and, just know, I apologize for that.
I don't think your mom has to apologize for anything. That's just me. I think
I don't think she does.
That's Marissa being the people pleaser.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I'm working on it.
Yeah, I don't like. You were great, Marissa. I don't know. That's just one person's opinion. You were fantastic. We really loved watching you. I definitely think Ramses has a lot to say. I hope we get that. I hope we get to hear it at the reunion. I know you have to go. Thank you so much, Marissa, for taking the time. I hope that you two don't end up together. If you did, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm sorry. He is denying her core who she is as a person. Like, why would you want to end up with that person?
That could be your husband.
It could be your husband.
Anyway, if you guys are together, I apologize.
I'll let you know on Wednesday.
All right.
Perfect. Give us a call.
All right. Thank you so much, Marissa.
Bye. Well,
Let's all vote. Are they together or are they not?
No.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
They can't be,
God, I
right?
hope not.
It's I feel like for her being like in that moment, like I was jaded. I wanted to be a people pleaser. I wanted to like make sure his feelings were valid, and then watching it back being like, what the So I don't know. I think this reunion is going to be so juicy, and I cannot wait.
I hope she's with Bowden. I really like them together. So
Oh, Bowden.
he served in the military.
served. Yeah, well, and then Ramses was like homies with that guy too.
It
but
just
he,
didn't. Yeah,
Isn't that
it didn't make
weird?
sense. Yeah.
What did you want to cover before you left? Garrett and
Oh, I just said that we didn't talk about Taylor and Garrett, where we talked about the fight.
About the fight.
They went
but
to San Diego.
They met her mom had like a very supportive conversation with them. And then they had that date at the really cool art exhibit place.
Oh, yeah, that was
Where they're
cool.
kinda, like,
the
talking-
art with the science.
Right? I
Mhm.
thought that was really cool. I don't know. I'm just like a big fan of like where their relationship is going and how they're able to openly discuss what they like, what they don't like, what they're working on, what they like common goals, where I feel like that's something that should be highlighted more so, where
Yeah.
I'm like, a lot of the times we don't like certain couples because we're like, they're boring or whatnot. But I'm like, no, I think this is a very healthy example of what communication looks like in a relationship.
I think more than any couple that ends up together, and I'm assuming they end up together, they're the couple I'm most interested in hearing from and
Yeah.
learning about their relationship.
Taylor did post a TikTok of like the picture we've all seen of Garrett's glow up, and it's like her being like the audio where it's like someone cooked here, and it's her being like, "Was it me? Was it not?"
Oh, wow.
They're so together. It's
Yeah,
fine.
they have to be.
It's fine. Yeah, gives us something to root for.
I have a hot take.
What?
I think Garrett looked better before.
Oh my God.
He looked okay
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
I think he was hot before and after.
I don't know. I liked it better before.
Why?
to share.
What? That's maybe the most unflattering haircut a man can have. The army.
I liked it. I thought.
I mean, yeah, to each their own. Everyone
I
has their
liked it.
kinks.
You know?
You know.
And Taylor made hers work.
Leia's husband does have like a shaved head. Not shaved head, but like a version of that haircut.
No, he doesn't.
Like grown out.
He did. He grew it out, but he did have a buzz cut for a while.
It's her style.
Do
It
you
is her
hate his
kink.
hair now?
No. I just think
The hesitation.
I don't know. I just liked Garrett's look before. I thought it suited his personality. I just liked it.
So Garrett, Taylor, they're together. Ramses and Marissa, we think, are breaking up.
Ashley,
and
Tyler.
Tyler.
They together. I'm
gonna say together.
manifesting that.
They work through it. They seem so strong and like communicative, and I just
It's the
feel like
communication, yeah.
And they jumped out of a plane
They
together.
did. They jumped out of a plane
Also,
together.
hot take. I think the more this person, not even an ex, this alleged friend of Tyler's, the more this person speaks, the more I question them.
It's very much giving like
15 minutes.
clout chasing, like here. It just is very, it's like, what?
It's giving
what are
messy.
you
Then you're hearing
doing?
about her partner
It's just-
also going and fighting for
It's-
custody.
At the end of the day, there are children involved, and to bring children into an internet war and to invite trolls and strangers to comment on your children is something I will never stand by, and it feels so gross and so icky, and I am not for that.
I think we should pay attention to Ashley and Tyler's silence right now.
Mm.
And I think that speaks to let's wait and see.
It's a good
and
point,
I think the fact that they haven't been messy, I think it says something. And I don't know what it
Yeah,
says.
it's giving like we know the truth, and like that's true.
I just think maybe before we jump to conclusions and things like that, we should wait till we actually get to hear from these people who have chosen to be very messy and very silent. And history says those people usually are right.
Okay.
But we'll see. We shall see. All right. Well, that does it for this episode. Tune in tomorrow for one of my favorite GD episodes ever.
Nick cries.
Your golden bachelorette, Joan, is with us. If it's just family, love, everything you've ever wanted to know about Joan, you've learned. It's an emotional, wonderful, happy, just sad episode, and you're going to love it. That is tomorrow. And then we are back on Thursday for another wild episode of Reality Recap. We'll see you then. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.